Skimming-rinky-dinky-doo, skimming-rinky-hee. Welcome to the Turnbuckle on this particular Tuesday, and we're all ready for another off-the-wall, womp-em, crazy mother, shock-em, swamp-em, something sort of thing. We have a lot to talk about, gentlemen.
A lot happened.
We do every week, but this week feels a little extra packed. Jason, you agree?
Yeah. I mean, we did have the show on Saturday, too, so that makes it a little bit worse.
Travis, do you agree we have a little extra to talk about this week?
I do.
All right. So with that,
well said.
So some quick hellos real fast. We'll really get at it. Travis Napper, how the hell you doing?
I am flippin-tastic. He said to be quick.
Can't you see I'm drinking my coffee? You could have dragged it out a few sentences.
Right?
Oh, yeah, well, you know, I haven't drinking my coffee yet, so.
Well, we got to get on the coffee page here.
Well, we got some social media tags, whatever the youngins call them these days, right there.
Yeah.
Cross on the ticker. If anybody wants to contact us here, there's a multitude of ways. A multitude of ways. I'm going to throw the lost and down ones up there, too.
So
talk to us. We get lonely.
So, please, I do get lonely, matter of fact. 3 a.m., I had some weird guy in my DMs. It was weird.
It's me.
Bitching about bullshit. Sorry.
It's definitely me, then.
I had to get that out.
It was definitely him. All right, Mr. McCarthy, before we get going, how are you?
I am utterly fantastic, good sir. I got done working at like 12:30, so that's great. Just been hanging out at home.
It definitely was me because I kept Logan up at like 3 a.m. in the morning.
I promise you didn't keep me up. Nobody. I am the one that keeps people up. So
he means in their nightmares.
No, I am the one that because although my sleep schedule's been better lately, a little better. Like last night was as late as I've been up in a couple of weeks.
Me too.
And that was. This is going to sound ridiculous to you when I say it, Jason, but compared to my norm, right? Okay. 3 a.m. was as late as I've been up.
Wow.
And compared to my norm,
I mean, we've had conversations at 5:30 in the morning, so yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so
compared
a little progress.
To the norm, that's much better.
All right, so this episode's titled "Trouble in Paradise," and I felt like it fit both companies, the majors, and so I thought it fit well.
I think so.
Plus, who doesn't love a good Kofi Kingston throwback? So that's what this one's titled. All right, boys, let's get after it. Let's talk about the Tuesday Night War. Last Tuesday, you guys, Jason, you did a show, pardon me.
I did. It was fun.
Previewing the Tuesday Night War. And what the Tuesday Night War is, if you're not familiar for some reason.
Where have you been if you're not familiar? I'm confused.
That's judgment. We don't need that.
Right. I was just asking where you been.
Yeah, but it was the tone. You said it like Mercedes Moné.
You said it so judgy.
Yeah, you said it like Mercedes Moné with her boy JJ. If you've seen that video.
No, I didn't see it.
Well, it's going viral. She was dressed like Woody. She looks good. I mean, but still not very nice. Anywho, we'll talk more about that some other time.
Some celebrities aren't nice.
I'm not saying that she's not nice, period, but she could have been a lot. She could have been a lot kinder, and so could he.
Hey, what's up, guys? Superman Onyx here. Hey, WrestleFit, one of the newest, baddest workouts out there right now. Now, yes, the word wrestling is in it, when I'm by a wrestling ring, but you won't be wrestling. You won't be doing the headlocks or the slams or the spine busters that I do. Yeah, but what you will be doing is everything that we do to get ready to get in the ring, from kettlebell swings to slam balls to flipping tires to hitting tires to doing Olympic weightlifting movements. Guys, you don't want to miss out on this. WrestleFit is the way to go. Gives you a little bit of everything. Hope to see you soon.
All right. So
I think it started with him.
You haven't seen the video. That's what I was just told. Pick a side. First invade Iraq, then it's send the troops home, Senator. Pick one. Okay. We're moving on.
We're going to have a fantastic show today.
Yeah. We're moving on.
Wait, no, maybe she was wrong.
I felt like they were both wrong. He was wrong how he approached it, and she took a kind of a bad approach and made it way worse.
Yeah, that's fair.
That was my personal thought of that. Anywho, you let us know what you thought of Mercedes Moné and her Woody outfit and outburst otherwise. She did. She was dressed like Woody from Toy Story. That's true. That's true.
She was. That's fine. This is Halloween.
All right. So Tuesday Night War happened. And if you don't know what the Tuesday Night War is, AEW got moved to Tuesday for one night only due to the MLB playoffs because it's that time of year.
Yes, that it is.
And, well, the AEW lost the Tuesday Night War as to be expected, given the fact that it might as well have been a Raw reunion show. They lost it pretty handily. By about 300,000 some viewers. I don't know the exact numbers.
Something like that.
I'm too lazy to look them up at the moment.
It was like 320 or something like that.
Yeah. Neither company cracked 1 million, which was kind of surprising.
I was kind of surprised with the star power that NXT had. I thought for sure.
And that tells you right there, ladies and gentlemen, and this gets to something we're going to talk about way later in the show. You don't want to move Raw off Mondays. Wrestling viewership is habitual. We do it because we get in the habit of it.
Yeah, you don't want to change nights ever. Because, I mean, like...
Unless you're moving to a significant network, you don't...
I mean, most AEW fans were NXT Black and Gold fans. Mm-hmm. So now they're in a process of, like, watching both. Now you have to make a choice. Like, it was out of everybody's hands because of the playoffs. There's nothing you can do.
Right.
But, never, ever, ever again, unless it just has to be moved nights for, like, one night because of playoffs or whatever.
Well,
because I don't want to...
It will happen again.
Well, I'm sure.
Friday in November, it will happen.
Oh, cool.
There's a Friday in November that it will happen.
Sweet.
They're doing Collision and Rampage, and I think Collision's going to be a special episode, and it's going to go up against SmackDown. And
great.
You know, and I'm looking forward to it because...
I mean, I like the show. Like, Tuesday was fantastic.
I don't want to hear any more. No more. None. Zero zilch. If I hear this one more time, this following statement that I'm about to get to, when I damn well please, because on Tuesdays I host this show and I do mighty fine.
Oh.
I don't ever want to hear again. AEW is not competition. They don't consider them competition. They aren't competition.
Tuesday tells you something completely different, because if you don't think they're competition, then what are you doing?
And so to the people that say that and will still say that, and I don't know if anyone on this show is one of them, Travis, how do you feel about that? You think it's garbage?
What?
Do you think that WWE certainly considers AEW real competition?
Yes.
Okay. So even the biggest WWE stan on this show right now agrees. So for all you stans out there that don't agree, you can get them a DMs all you want to, but stop giving me that shit, because that's what it is. It's an absolute crock of manure. It is an absolute crock. I'll believe that. I'll believe that when me shit turns purple, folks. That's not... Any idea of that is gone. Because they loaded up NXT, the third brand, the developmental brand, with John Cena. John Cena. I'm talking about Peacemaker here, all right?
And that's just one.
That's
just one guy.
That's John Cena. And do you want to know who closed the show?
I know.
Arguably, in my heart of hearts, depending on the day, he's the greatest of all time and the baddest of them all indeed. The Undertaker. Undertaker showed up. And the Undertaker don't show up any place, all right? No. He goes to... here's what Undertaker does. He clearly eats all right. He polishes his guns. And that's that. And he occasionally will pop in for the special episode. We had not seen the Undertaker since the 30th anniversary of Monday Night Raw. We have not seen him since then, and we called him out of wherever hole he crawls out of in Texas to deal with Braun Breaker. I don't want to hear it anymore. However, However, let's talk about this. Because we'll break down the segment, but I think what we got to get to first, boys, is what made even bigger headlines. Buddy, Jason, I say this to you with love. You know that I've really grown to be. I've grown to the point right now where I enjoy AEW more than I enjoy WWE right now.
Yes.
I think that's fair.
Yes.
I think it's clear. Tony Khan had a meltdown.
Oh.
Did you see that? All those tweets?
Yeah.
Tony Khan lost his ever-loving mind. I know this is going to mess up your audio, but I got to say this one. He lost his ever-loving mind.
There, I fixed it.
Okay.
It's fine.
He literally lost his ever-loving mind. He had a meltdown. Do you agree?
I mean, I totally agree. I don't know what happened.
He even took a shot, and he's not really a shot taker at the wrestlers. He'll take some shots at Vince, Triple H, and it's easy to take shots at Vince. That's in vogue.
Sean sometimes,
right? He'll take he takes shots at the people that also do his job.
Yeah.
So I kind of he takes shots at Bischoff. Bischoff did his job. So usually he stays on his similar wavelength. This time he talked about how a great rating streak for John Cena and The Undertaker was broken because they didn't get 1 million viewers.
I don't know where that came from.
And while technically that is correct, and I mean, hey, I love a good troll. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I love a good troll. It would be different if that was like one tweet the next day, but that was like the fourth or fifth in a series of weird ass tweets. And then he started talking later on. He starts talking about how 1 year, like Wednesday came, Wednesday or Thursday after the war, right after Tuesday.
Yeah.
And he talked about how this was 1 year ago. This is when this became personal for me because I was at my mother's bedside or whatever, and she was sick, and I had gotten word of them tampering with contracts. And while that might be entirely true, that just feels weird to randomly tweet out.
Yeah.
That might be entirely
You're not wrong.
I'm like, do you think you're texting QT right now?
I think that he shouldn't be running his social media accounts. What are you doing? Why?
See, I think he needs a little advice on how to run them. I don't know about not running them.
No. Pay somebody to do it.
Hold on.
Because you can always be like, I want to say something myself and go on there and do it. Pay someone to do it.
Okay, I hear you. But here's why, and I agree. He made himself look awful. But here's why here's why I'm a little skeptical at your suggestion. I think it's nice that an actual not this week because it's been weird. But more times than not, like it's nice to know that you're tweeting Tony Khan, the owner of a major wrestling promotion, and you know that's genuinely him looking at your reply. That's nice to know. There's a personableness about that. Frankly, it makes people when he does it right, it makes him more endearing.
That's fair.
And so I don't know about pay somebody entirely. Maybe a little blend of what you're talking about. Mr. Travis Napper, did you see these tweets?
Oh boy, did I!
What's your thoughts on Tony Khan's social media behavior after the ratings loss? What's your thoughts?
I mean, it's what you said. It was an absolute total meltdown. I don't understand half of them. I don't understand the taking the quote unquote dig at Taker and Cena. Like, yeah, it's an interesting fact to know. But you're also setting yourself up for criticism because we can look at every single WWE guy that's long tenured on his roster and say the same thing.
I don't know if you can because how many of those guys drew 1 million viewers even in the WWE?
You can't say that they have. You can't say they've been on a WWE show that's been under 1 million. But that's not going to matter to the IWC. They didn't for the longest time, or for the days that followed it. Everybody, that's all they brought up was, well, what about Edge? What about Christian? What about Chris Jericho? They've been on they've been on TV shows that haven't cracked 500 and stuff like that. And it's like you're just making it more divided for the IWC to yell at each other for the dumbest crap. Please don't do that. They don't need the encouragement. They're already assholes themselves. Please don't feed that. And that's kind of what he did. And then taking the whole part about his mother. I thought that was weird. I do. And, I think he put in a later tweet that he brought it up because it had been a year since she got, I think, released from the hospital. It's still a weird thing to say. And it's still a weird thing to bring up, especially given the circumstances before that tweet. So I think that's why it was so weird. Because, again, like Logan said, even if it was true, even if it is true, and I said this after he did it to our group chat, like, even if that's the case, number one, why are you taking phone calls while you're in the hospital with your mother? I think, if anything, he should delegate that stuff to people in his company. I know there's not a lot of people he trusts, and probably even less people after everything that's gone on with the CM Punk thing and his EVPs being absolute morons. I get it. But there should be somebody you can relegate that kind of business to. Or, at the end of the day, come back to it and say, I'm not going to deal with this right now. I'm going to deal with this next week or the week after that, because let's be honest, that is something you can deal with a week later. I really doubt it was rampant to the point where it's not something that could be handled at a later date. So I wish he would find a way to relegate that stuff to other people. But to tie that all in, after everything that happened in that week, it just seemed like a really odd thing to do and sounded more personal on his end than anything else that WWE did. I really doubt they had any intention of, if that is the case and that is true, I don't think they probably intended to make that personal. Probably didn't even know that his mom was in the hospital. So why would you make the connection that they tried to make it personal when you can't even probably say for certain that that was their intention? It was a really weird meltdown for a guy that I think a lot of people think is a little bit more level-headed than that, or at least we hope he is. I agree with Jason, though. I wish he would probably give up his social media rights to somebody else. I will say, though, that is kind of a catch-22, though, because giving up your social media accounts to somebody else to run can be very damning. And especially for a guy running a big multi-million-dollar company like that, you could get yourself in hot water pretty quick.
I mean, I'm not saying just hire some fucking Yahoo off the street to run his Twitter account. It would be someone that you fucking know that's in the company that isn't going to look at every tweet personally. That's what I mean by hiring somebody. Hire somebody that you know that can take themselves away from the situation and give us valid information, because, like, even as an AEW fan, like, I don't care about the stat of John Cena and Undertaker. That's like college level course. If pro wrestling was taught in college, that is something that you would know. Useless information. That's the first, like, wrestling history stat or whatever that Tony Khan's ever tweeted out that was like, why? Like, that I am not more enriched in my pro wrestling fandom to know that every time John Cena and The Undertaker were on TV, they cracked at least 1 million viewers. I don't fucking care.
Well, I mean,
and my biggest issue with him sending that out, and, NXT's over here touting they got this, and, Tony Khan's being stupid and tweeting out, this is the first time Undertaker and John Cena didn't crack 1 million views. Let's look at the big picture, fellas. Let's just look at the big picture here. If you take the NXT ratings and you take the AEW ratings, more than 1 million people on a Tuesday night were watching professional wrestling at the same time. That's what's important. Is it damaging to both companies' ratings? Sure. But when you look at it as a whole, Another great thing for the wrestling business. Competition breeds greatness. We saw that in how they booked it. There's a lot to unpack about Travis's comments of Tony Khan. He never said that WWE meant to make it personal. He just took it as personal. There's a difference in how you say that. He shouldn't have said a fucking word. He should have said, it's been a year since my mom was released from the hospital. Thank you, Mayo Clinic. That's it. He didn't need to say the tampering and all the bullshit because we were already past that. But to have never spoken, never had any interaction, to take the word of someone that you hate and stopped watching certain pro wrestling for, to call the EVPs morons like CM Punk is across the line, sir. There's no reason for that. They're not even in this conversation, and you called them morons? I don't understand that, man. I don't. They're not even in this conversation. They're not in this topic. What's the point of CM Punking and calling the EVPs morons for no reason?
I miss you, Phil.
Why not?
Why not? What's the point? They're not part of the conversation.
What's the point of any of it? That's the point. There was no point in anything that happened last week.
I meant you 3 minutes ago.
I'm going to let you all just handle this one.
You called the EVPs morons for no reason. They're not a part of this conversation.
Because I was alluding to the fact that I said that he should delegate that type of business at the time that the business that he was bringing up in his tweet about getting phone calls and getting all this stuff during tampering that was apparently going on. Like I said last week, I wish that he would probably relegate that stuff to somebody else. But he can't do it to the EVPs because I don't think I would trust them either, even if I didn't think they were morons.
And again, what proof do you have that they're morons other than CM Punk's word? And that they didn't want to meet with CM Punk? Is that unprofessional? Sure. It doesn't make them morons.
The infighting before all that took place is a pretty good indication, too.
Oh, no. Infighting in a pro wrestling fucking locker room?
I'm gonna let y'all have
No way, man. Because that's never happened before in the history of pro wrestling. AEW has the fucking trademark on that.
I'm going to let y'all have this.
Just saying. What
Okay.
are we doing?
What are we doing? Why? I don't understand what we're doing.
I'm wondering why you feel the need to call the EVPs morons. We don't know.
Because it's fun. It's entertainment. I don't know. Does it really fucking matter?
It does. It matters to me.
Why?
Because CM Punk called them morons and you stopped watching fucking Collision because CM Punk was on it.
It was more than just what he said about them that pissed me off with CM Punk. Let's be honest.
That's fair, but like I said, why you gotta CM Punk
Like
the EVPs?
His whole deal with them was the smallest part of the fucking totem pole that was the microcosm of my hate for that piece of shit. Let's be perfectly fucking honest.
I miss Phil.
Do you?
I don't.
I do.
I don't understand the hatred for Phil. I don't understand the hatred for the EVPs.
He's a piece of shit. That's
Understand the
why.
hatred. He's a jerk, sure. But does that make him a piece
there
of
you go.
shit? But does that make him a piece of shit, though? Like, there's a very big difference between a jerk and a piece of shit. I know some pretty good people that are jerks. And I know some people that are pieces of shit that try to show you they're not jerks at all. At least you know what you're getting with a jerk.
Y'all let me know when you're done.
I don't condone it. I'm just saying, at least you know what you're getting.
Y'all let me know when you're done.
I don't know. Are we?
I have no idea where all this is going.
I don't either.
I don't either. I think it just happened.
You're feeling feisty today, I can tell.
Well, you know.
That's all right. It's all right.
Apparently.
It's gonna be one of them shows. I like it. So, buddy, that was a good cup of coffee, by the way.
Oh, thanks. It was. Mine's fucking fantastic, too.
Wonderful cup. That was good.
I'm jealous.
You should be jealous. It's fantastic.
You make good coffee.
Well, we will talk about CM Punk when there's reason to talk about him. There isn't any at this point.
Thank God.
We're not. I don't think any of the three of us are going to change our opinions on Mr. Phil, but
No.
So we'll save that for another time. Let me play devil's advocate for Tony here. Okay, let me do that. Let me be clear on a few things first. Do I disagree with him tweeting all that out at that time? Absolutely. It made you look petty, which is what I think he was going for. However, because it looked petty, unprofessional, and just not a cool look. However, to be devil's advocate for him, number one, when you are running a professional wrestling business or a sports entertainment company, it is a 24/7 job, even with your sick mother. There are 15 to 20 guys on that roster right now that could call Vince McMahon or Triple H, and no matter what they were doing, they'd take the call. They could be having a bowel movement or delivering a child, they would take the call. That's just the way it is.
You have to.
So depending on who called, now if it's a low-level guy, that might be a little different. But if it was one of your 5 to 10 top dudes, you take the call. I mean, Hogan has been honest about the fact that I would call Vince freaking out at 3 a.m. about something. Like, that's just it's just the way it is. We know that during Vince's short-lived retirement, the day he retired, Triple H and Vince both took calls from Lesnar. So, in his defense, yeah, you delegate that to some, but if it's one of your core people, you take the call. It's just kind of the way it goes, and that's one of the things that has made WWE great compared to WCW. Where the long-standing story is, once 5 p.m. hit, you couldn't get a hold of anybody in the office, including Bischoff. You've heard that before, Jason.
Yes, I have heard that many times, actually.
So in his defense on that, unprofessional, but also WWE has done and will continue to do everything they can to undercut him. Yeah, and so I understand why it's personal.
And I mean, let's not forget CM Punk on his wedding day got fired.
Yeah,
I think wasn't Austin in the hospital or something stupid.
Yeah.
Oh no, his was by FedEx, so that was even worse.
The reality is if you have
the trash bag, don't forget the trash bag.
So I mean,
the reality is, in my opinion, if you are a high level official of this business, you're going to have some pettiness about you. It's just the way it is. Vince, of course, does. Triple H does. It's just the way it is. Because, I don't know, you got to be a screwed up weirdo to want to be in this business anyway.
That's fair.
So, to me, like this, WWE has done all they can to delegitimize and yet simultaneously undercut because they've done it. And that's because AEW has been able to take a slither of the market share compared to because they never did this to TNA or Impact. They never, not as consistently. The only time they ever did all they could to screw Impact is when Hogan and Bischoff moved into Mondays. That was it. But they fired the shot across the bow.
Yeah, that was their own fault.
Yeah.
That was a terrible decision.
Bischoff will still tell you it was a good one.
I will still say that he's crazy.
Bischoff
it was a terrible idea.
Bischoff will tell me a lot of things, none of which I really believe.
He says
he will be highly critical of himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've heard him be highly critical of himself.
He's very reflective of what he did wrong in WCW and TNA, but he stands by the Monday night decision, and here's why, quickly, and it's only like a couple sentences. He says that because wrestling viewership is so habitual, Mondays are wrestling, right? And so it was an idea of let's shoot across the bow and make more people aware of this product. They said it was never meant to be a full-time thing, and his idea was people will be more aware because of the buzz it'll get because, oh, my God, they're going Monday head-to-head Raw. Because he said it's amazing how many wrestling fans, and he's right about this, are in the WWE bubble, and they just don't watch anything else. Case in point, on Friday, Nick Aldis pops up, and it wasn't worth a pimple on my ass. They didn't care, and
yeah, that's a shame.
And that sucks because
shame.
Because he's one, and I can speak to this because I have such passion for this company.
You forget how big he is.
Yeah.
Jesus, it's like, damn, dude, I forgot you were a fucking giant under that suit. My god.
Bischoff,
he's like this.
Yep.
Like, oh my god.
So Bischoff said the idea of the Monday thing from Hogan and Bischoff's perspective was not the win. They knew they were going to get their ass kicked. It was, we got to somehow get out of this just our bubble. That was their idea, according to him. They said that they knew they were going to get their ass kicked, but it was like, how do we get some sort of buzz to create more long term, because it's just so tough to get out of the WWE bubble. And that's a good point. All right, anywho,
I know what you should have done. Should have taken whatever money it was going to cost for that and run a fucking commercial on USA at 7:55 instead of going head to head on Monday. Spend money over here when you know wrestling fans are about to watch something.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's one of those.
We're going to have this on Thursday.
It's I get the point.
Hindsight's 2020 though. I can see why. Like, okay, maybe
that's
it'll get
the
buzz and everything else.
That has more logic than you would think.
Yes, but I think ad time would have been more beneficial.
So to Tony's defense, going back to that, this company's done everything they can to undercut, screw, and make light of AEW while simultaneously dismissing them as not competition. So I kind of get it. Like, no, it's not professional behavior. But sometimes, and I'm not saying this makes it a good look. I've made very clear it's not. But as a human being, it's like, yeah, you guys want to always screw me, always make light of what I do. Screw you. I'm going to... Look, and I'm not getting political, but can I make this one statement? Oh, yeah. One of the reasons Donald Trump was president is because of his Twitter.
Yeah.
It was a branch to people. And so you can humanize yourself by going, because people in today's world, there's a portion of society, and this is no longer a political topic. There's a portion of today's society of people like Tony Khan or Vince McMahon or Triple H or anyone with a stuffed suit, right? Well, they've kind of forgot the human being aspect.
Oh yeah.
People like the idea of, look how pissed off he got. Look at that. That's how I would talk. That's how you would talk when you're like, I'm not going to sit back and take this fucking shit.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so for the idea of, again, not a good look, I understand, totally should have put the phone down. But this company does all it can to screw you. Why wouldn't you fight them back everything you can? That doesn't mean try to put them out of business, but every time because they loaded up this NXT to just squash you like a bug. For no good reason. For no good reason other than what? They moved NXT to try and delegitimize your debut when you first started out.
That did not work.
So, I mean, Travis, I know you're more on the WWE side of this thing right now. We'll see if that evolves for both of us as the years go on. Don't you agree that WWE does all they can to kind of undercut AEW?
Yeah, for the most part.
And so that's where I think, like, I get that it's a bad look. I do. But the human being in me goes, I get why you're pissed off, and you got that platform. Why wouldn't you go? Because guess what? He can't. If he does it at a media scrum, he's even more unprofessional. If he becomes a TV character, that's not good either. Where else would you do it? And frankly, it doesn't mean you need to buy into it professionally. But if you want to, there's a large slither of fans that are in the tribalism on both sides. I know guys that will run down WWE because WWE, and I know guys that will run down AEW just because it's AEW. Ride that lightning bolt.
I mean, fair.
Ride that light, and I don't mean book it that way. I'm talking about if that fires up some lost viewers that have kind of ebbed out a little bit, and they're still Team AEW, but they're not watching as consistently as they were. I get that. Because the rumor is he thought it might create some good buzz going into the Twitter announcements he made as far as angles they have coming up. And I can see the point of that. Do I think that's the right decision? Absolutely not. But this company will absolutely screw anybody they possibly can. And it doesn't matter if Vince goes away, it doesn't matter if Vince dies, it's ingrained in the DNA of this thing. Because of Vince has ingrained in the DNA of this company for years after he'll be gone, whether that's retirement or death, of you screw everybody you possibly can, and to hell with everybody else. Take as much of this market share as you possibly can. That's just his way. And he's ingrained that in Triple H. He's ingrained that in Shawn Michaels. He's certainly ingrained that in his children. And he's ingrained that in Bruce Pritchard. He's ingrained that now in Nick Khan. So even when Vince is gone, and it might be a little less, it's never going to be too much. It's never going to be too much because he has just taught and breeded a system of screw everybody else and to hell with it. Because Vince doesn't care if AEW goes out of business, but he'd like that. He'd like
wouldn't mind at all.
He would like every wrestling company to go out of business. Does he want that? Will he fight for that? No, those days are over. But in WWE's world, they would be fine if everybody else went out, because in their world, they'll just watch us.
I mean, they were.
Yeah.
And for a minute, kind of were.
Yeah.
Industry as a whole suffered a lot when they bought WCW.
And it was
bad news, Bears.
And I mean, Vince was a potential buyer of Ring of Honor.
Oh, it would have been so sad.
Vince almost bought he was, from what I understand, Tony was a last-minute bid, according to Tony. And they worked out a deal, and the other contender was going to be WWE, Vince McMahon.
I know it would have just been the library.
It had been the library, and he'd have said, I'll see you.
Yep.
Because what's the network need? More content, damn it. So, yeah, I get it. All right, let's talk about an NXT segment.
Okay.
People were upset about The Undertaker popping up on NXT.
Of course they were.
Because
they were.
People said he buried Braun Breaker.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God.
If you think The Undertaker buried Braun Breaker,
you're a dumbass?
I'm going to... I don't understand what that logic... Like, is The Undertaker supposed to come get beat down by Braun Breaker? Is that what we're doing? What?
That makes some sense.
In what world? Like,
No.
That's not ever been his... And plus, he still called him a special talent who's going to be really a star in the future. He just said that ain't today.
And then he socked him in the mouth.
Literally 3 legends of the business called him that in one night.
I don't get it.
But he's buried.
I don't believe me. And plus, do you know the honor of working with these icons?
Right? Like, where can I sign up to take a jab and a chokeslam from The Undertaker?
Like,
I'll do that shit for $20.
Like, do you understand? I think I got to sneeze.
Maybe. He might have to sneeze. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how you can sit here and say that Undertaker buried Braun Breaker. It was a very professional wrestling style segment. The young lion tried to talk all kinds of shit and get one over on the wily veteran that really can't step back into the ring, even though he probably will at some point. And he got socked in the face, took one hell of a choke slam. I mean, back in the day, you would say that that's a poster-worthy choke slam, because it was. But I don't know how prevalent posters are now. Yeah. But I mean, right at the height of the choke slam, he got posterized. Can't ask for more than that. Plus, he hasn't been in the business that long. Like, he got a fantastic rub from The Undertaker, like you said, by just being out there with him.
Yeah.
Got the sneezes.
Well, stop it.
We'll see.
Stop it.
Oh, go ahead, Travis. What did you think?
Well, I was going to say, he also imitated The Undertaker. Like, is Undertaker just not supposed to respond to that? Like, during his match with Baron Corbin, he literally does The Undertaker sit-up. We're just supposed to not let Undertaker respond to that if we're going to have him on TV? Like, it makes no sense.
But that doesn't fit their narrative.
Of course he was going to Huh?
That doesn't fit their narrative.
No. I get so... This is like nails on a chalkboard to me every time some idiot on the internet looks at a situation like this and says that some young talent is immediately buried because they get their ass handed to them. God forbid, in a world of wrestling where we get physical, just because one time some guy gets beat up, that's suddenly an automatic burial, like they know anything about what they're talking about. Good God.
That's what I say when there's fights in the back. This is pro wrestling. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
It's one of those, like, you had the privilege of standing in the ring and working to a limited extent with The Undertaker. Are you kidding me? That's a privilege. That's a privilege.
CM Punk.
You know, it's...
That's fair. That's fair.
Right?
No, that's not fair.
Why is it not?
Yes, it is.
Why is it?
Yes, it is.
Why is that? Hold on. What makes you say that? Let me try to get that first.
Well, I mean, it's The Undertaker at WrestleMania. There's not much more you could ask for.
But his complaint was, and he even said, no disrespect to The Undertaker, but his complaint was, if I'm that big of a star, do you pay me like them?
That's fair. See? Also fair.
Phil is not wrong about everything. Stop it, Travis. He might not always be right, but damn it, you act like he couldn't do 2 + 2 is 4.
Oh, that's sad.
I barely can.
Same. Last question regarding the Tuesday Night War, boys. Did the numbers surprise you?
A little bit.
Did the numbers for either company surprise you?
Oh, really?
Travis, you said a little bit. Why?
I just thought they would break 1 million for NXT. I really thought that they would get, and they got close. They really did. But I thought for sure they would break 1 mil. Especially because their consistency for the last couple of weeks has been like 750, 800-ish. I thought for sure having all that talent on there would break them over 100 or over 1 million.
What say you, Jason? Were you surprised they didn't break 1 million? Did you think it would be closer between NXT and AEW?
I didn't think it would be closer. I'm not really all that surprised because, and this is why I don't think that. I mean, even in the world of DVR and crazy people like me watching AEW over here on this TV and NXT over here on a laptop, but so I got NXT audio coming through the Roadcaster, so I'm turning that down and turning NXT up. Like, it was a battle back and forth. There's not a lot of people that are going to watch it that way, so you're picking one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
so what you're saying is we're psychotic.
Yes.
Okay.
Quite a bit. I even tweeted Bully Ray when he talked about how he watched it, and I said, bro, I did the same thing. Like, everything. Like, my notes right here, like, you can't really read them, but I was, like, really focused on that first half hour because everybody was commercial-free. I was really interested. Like, I looked at it like a media professional. I was like, how are they going to fire at each other? Like, what's going on here and here and here and here and here? Of course, I didn't make them legible, but anyway. Well, like, this is why I don't want them on the same night. Like I said, I trailed off. Even in the world of DVR and streaming things whenever the fuck you want. It's a vampiric notion to have pro wrestling on at the same time. Because, especially when it's NXT and AEW, like I said at the beginning of this conversation, most AEW fans were NXT black and gold fans first.
Right.
So you're just like sucking off each other's fans, and it makes no sense. Now NXT with all these stars.
It's a weird phrase of.
I don't know.
Phrase?
I don't know how else to put it.
Siphoning off.
Siphoning off. That's a good one. But like,
that's a much better way to put it. Thank you.
Without AEW, they don't put the stars on Tuesday night, but without AEW, if you put the stars on Tuesday night anyway, you crack 1 million. But you got the AEW fans over here siphoning off that little bit to where you're not going to crack 1 million. Like, I don't think it's good for overall ratings for either company.
I don't either. I think that was only, obviously, AEW's pushed into that because of the...
Yeah, you don't have a choice sometimes, but, like, I just don't like it. It's detrimental to both companies.
It is... I felt like that I don't know if AEW used the best of the resources to help. I thought Tony... This is going to sound weird given what we just talked about, but, like, I thought Tony's biggest thing was he just tweeted to hype it up. Like, they are coming for your blood. like they brought the Undertaker. And so excuse my sniffles, folks. It's just literally
And honestly, they went even further than that. They brought in LA Knight, and they didn't even announce he was going to be there.
Right. So they went for your blood. So I thought Tony made a mistake in, I thought if he's going to take the loss on the chin and not care, then he didn't make a mistake. But given his behavior afterwards, now I think it was a mistake. And what the mistake was, they brought in the Undertaker, John Cena, LA Knight, and I mean, like I said, it became kind of a miniature Raw reunion, right?
Yeah.
I think that number one, the biggest guy you had available that you didn't use was Sting. Why wouldn't he announce for that show? He should have been wrestling on that show. Yeah, again, if you're going to take the loss so hard, then you need to do everything you can do. Sting should have been wrestling on that show, or at least had a major hyped up appearance like he's having Wednesday. Also, I think you at that point should have, again, if you're going to go for blood and really take a loss hard, that's where, I know people have their issues with him and these things. That might have been the time for a Goldberg or Ric Flair one-off and see how that works out. Because, again, WWE proved how much they want to squash you by how much they loaded up that card.
Yeah, they do.
And so, I get, and I think that...
And I don't know if you can really say squash, maybe put in your place, even though it wasn't AEW's decision to move to Tuesday because of the playoffs. Maybe it was more of a, this is my night, bitch.
I think it was WWE... Go ahead.
I just also think they didn't want to lose momentum with NXT because, like I said, their consistent ratings for the last maybe month or so have been up around the 800s. I don't think they wanted to lose that. They definitely went out of their way to make a point, no doubt. But I think that was part of it too. I think they just didn't want to lose any of the momentum that they'd gotten.
Well, see, the thing about it is, I don't know how much momentum they'd lose, even if you lose it for a night. AEW's back to Wednesdays.
Yep.
As it turned out, AEW's back, so people will tune back in even if you miss it for a night. You just want to watch Edge or Adam Copeland. Also,
I almost think they overcompensated because they didn't get to almost 1 million just when Becky won the title. Isn't this recent?
Yeah.
Where they just like
it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you've heard me rant and rave about ratings, but since we're talking about it, I do recall that the ratings really picked up when Becky Lynch got the title. Like, you go into fucking 8th gear because AEW gets moved to Tuesday for a night. It's like, whoa, way too much. Like, it was cool, but it was way too much star power all of a sudden.
And
Becky wasn't even on the show, was she?
Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
Which is weird because she was advertised.
And here's another thing. Like, WWE is, and I'm not saying that AEW wouldn't do the same thing, but WWE continues to breed that tribalism because you say you're happy for Adam Copeland. You say you're thrilled with that. You say and then you go out of the way to bludgeon his debut.
I can see that, but what else is? But see, another awesome pro wrestling. We had The Undertaker and Edge on TV at the same time doing different things in different companies, and the feud that they had is wild. And I talked about this in the chat. I swear that Luchasaurus match was an Undertaker match. I was like,
it felt like that.
I've seen this before. But that guy looked a lot different the first time. Not like a bitchin', I've seen this before, because it was great, but it was like, I've seen this before, this is perfect.
And I know that you're not a ratings guy, Jason, but it's something that a large part of the wrestling fans these days will talk a lot about.
Yes, they do.
So I feel like we have to chat about it. And so I just personally, and I'm really into ratings, I look at it far too much, because I don't know, it's just... I spend too much time thinking about this whole business, to be honest with you. I spend probably somewhere in the neighborhood of an hour or two every day in small increments going, what's going on here? What's going on here? It's stupid.
Factor in the time I'm making graphics and shit. I mean, mine's ridiculous.
And so my thing is, Tony, relax, put the phone down, and have faith in your roster. Because that's the biggest thing is it looks like you don't have faith in your roster for the future. Like, you just keep putting on the best product you can, and WWE's got a lot of... Plus, here's the thing. WWE is in a lot of uncertainty right now. A lot of uncertainty, a lot of changes. We don't know what Vince McMahon's future holds. We don't know how involved Ari Emanuel's going to be. If you kind of keep just running your race, at some point they're going to falter because business hits laws. AEW's in a lull right now, business-wise, in terms of
attendance is down.
And buy rates are a little lower. And so you just keep running your race, and you're going to get there.
And I'll be honest,
WWE took their licking for 83 weeks.
Because they're in a lull. Their storytelling has been getting better these past couple of months. I think, the way the economy plays a big part in the AEW attendance. Because there's always going to be packed shows at WWE. You've said it for, the nosebleed guy that goes to see one person and that person doesn't show up. Dad worked and set this money away, didn't eat lunch for a week so he could take his kid to pro wrestling. Yep. AEW doesn't have that, and that's fine. But I think people need to realize that AEW doesn't really cater to the kids crowd. And so in economic downturns, the WWE is still going to have their attendance because you can justify shit for your kids.
Sure.
That's super easy.
Yeah.
But when it comes to just you,
it's tough.
It's so much harder to justify. And if your kids aren't into AEW or not really, you can get a teenager that's like this with wrestling to go. That's cool, but that's for you, really. But people need to just, I think, need to look at the big picture and not panic.
Walls happen, and it will happen again in WWE. And I'm not wishing that. I'm saying that's just a cycle. Wouldn't you agree, Travis?
Yeah.
And I think,
and frankly, if Vince is truly on his way out of the picture, as I kind of think he is, and we'll talk more in depth about that later, I don't know that I trust Ari Emanuel and Vince McMahon to run it as well, or not Vince McMahon, but Triple H to run it as well. 3 to 5 years, you might catch them. And I don't mean in terms of profit. I mean in terms of numbers. Because, all kidding aside, if he's really being kind of slowly shoved out the door, you're going to go, boy, I don't have as much knowledge as that guy.
Look, he didn't get to 3 million viewers in the Attitude Era overnight. It took a decade.
It's a process. And frankly, it's one of those things that if this is now Triple H's war to fight, I'll never think he's as smart as Vince McMahon. I just won't. That's just my opinion. I
think it's going to be,
from a business standpoint, he just isn't.
It's hard. It's going to be harder for him, I think, because a lot of the people over there that he has relationships with didn't screw him over. Vince had a lot of issues with guys because they just up and left, peace out, fuck you. Most of the guys from WWE that went to AEW finished their contracts, didn't really like what creative was going to have, and went somewhere else. You can't really be mad at that. So where that's going to hurt a little bit because we all know Triple H. I don't know how big of a heart Triple H has, but I'm quite sure it's bigger than Vince's.
If Vince has got a heart, it's cold and black.
So how hard is he going to want to crush them, so to speak? How much of NXT star power was Sean's idea? Because he runs NXT.
Yeah.
And Triple H is his friend. He's not going to step on his toes.
And frankly, from a personality standpoint, I could see Sean being more undercutting than Triple H because there was a time where Sean was undercutting everybody he could.
Yeah.
He did that to Shane Douglas with the Dean Douglas thing. He undercutted the hell out of him. Now, I'm not saying that wasn't drug influence. I'm sure it was.
Oh, yeah.
But there's still that part of you that goes, I'm going to screw him as much as I can.
I'm glad he is where he is, though. Sean's where he belongs, man. Showing
people like Sean need to be involved.
How to do this business the right way and get over the right way.
Yesterday's legends should be involved in this business behind the scenes, especially. I wish that one of the companies would hire Flair to help him. Just even if you're not on TV, let him show you. Imagine the things he can teach when he wants to teach, and he's
all
sober
you need
and on his game.
Promo school,
and
honestly. Because you don't want him to you don't need Ric Flair to show people how to take bumps. No, there's people that are way better at taking bumps than Ric Flair that can show you how to take bumps.
But he can tell you psychology, he can tell you promo. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of the same thing with Hogan. If you're looking for an over-the-top character, he can help with that. Yep. And if you're looking for the simple psychology of the simplest stuff in the ring, he can help with that.
And that's why I do think that like both AEW and WWE need to look at a Legends deal. I know WWE has it, but that's more more mailbox money.
Yeah, it's
this is for what you did for us, and you put your body on the line for years. Here you
network, go. It's all that.
But I mean, if you bring them in, because then you can go, okay, I want this guy to be super over the top. Hey, Terry, I need you to come down to the Performance Center.
Cool, be there.
Every Thursday, 9 a.m., we're working on this guy and this guy alone with you. Same thing on the other end. Yes, Jake Roberts is in AEW.
Yeah.
But how much of his brain do they use?
I don't think
somebody needs help talking. Lance Archer would be a perfect, like, I'm sure Lance Archer has taken that time to learn because he did get better on the microphone when he was actually on TV. But there's other guys that could use that knowledge too. Hey, you're not doing anything with Lance right now. Come hang out with this guy every Friday at 10 o'clock in the morning and work on his promo skills and get into his head, figure out his character and where he should go. And that's kind of what I mean with, like, writers in AEW. Like, you don't have to write their shit. Be there to help expand it.
All right. Do we want to take a break or want to go right to SmackDown?
I'm fine. I don't care.
What about you, Napper?
I'm good.
Okay. Let's do SmackDown. Triple H appointed Nick Aldis as the new general manager of SmackDown. And the crowd goes mild.
That was so sad.
Nick Aldis, and I can speak to this because I've studied the history of this company quite well. I've studied the history of a lot of companies quite well, but the statement I'm about to say I'm quite sure of. Nick Aldis is a top 5 NWA champion of all time.
Yeah.
And you know how much I've studied that particular company with Jim Crockett and going through Turner and all that. He's a top 5 NWA champion of all time. And nobody knew who he was. And let's not forget, fine, if NWA is not mainstream enough for you, I get it. YouTube is not a major platform. Fine. He had a very successful run as Magnus in TNA at the height of their powers.
Yeah, that's true.
He's like a 3-time world champion as Magnus. As part of the British Invasion with Doug Williams, who's incredible. And nobody gave the flip of a wooden nickel in that audience. And they didn't even give him theme music. And
I mean, he's a general manager. It's okay to not have theme music.
I don't know. Eric Bischoff's "I'm Back" is a hit.
I mean, you're not wrong, and so was No Chance. But I mean,
Adam Pearce doesn't have theme music.
That's kind of where I was going. Like, Adam Pearce doesn't have
Apparently
it. Apparently,
they love former NWA World Champions as GMs because Adam Pearce is a 3-time NWA World Champion.
Well, that speaks to how they view NWA. We on the outside looking in, you may think that NWA is not even on their radar, but they pay somebody to pay attention.
They pay somebody to pay attention.
They pay somebody to pay attention, and that is enough to say that they are on their radar because I'm spending money for you to pay attention to them, and that's your job. I mean, as well as other independent promotions, more than likely, but like that's your job.
How do you feel about Travis? I'll come to you to start. How do you feel about Nick Aldis being the GM? I like it because he's good on the mic, but he's 36 years old. Why isn't he wrestling?
I think he's still hurt. Like, I think he's genuinely still injured.
I thought I read.
I'll find out. You guys keep talking.
But I feel like even if he is still injured, isn't there plenty of injured producers and guys that could do that job on TV?
Not as good as him.
Well, sure, that's
and plus with him, go ahead.
If the idea is that this is just until he's not.
Do you have kids? Looking for a fun, inviting way to wear them out and help them stay healthy and fit? Then look no further, my friends. WrestleFit Jr. is exactly what you're looking for. Certified personal trainer and pro wrestler Superman Onyx will treat your mini you to a fitness program like no other. With exercises like running the ropes to tire flips and combining healthy eating habits and personal accountability, your child will earn the conditioning of a pro wrestler without the bumps. Stop by the Now Training Center at 625 Eastgate Parkway, Blacklick, Ohio 43004, or visit WrestleFitJunior.com on Facebook for class schedules and book an appointment today.
Not injured anymore. That's why you have him do this. Because if I put, like, let's say, for example, a Bobby Roode in that position, it would work. It'll get the job done. But if your ultimate plan is to get Nick Aldis into the ring at some point, I think this is a good opportunity to get him in front of the people who don't know who he is and get him acquainted with the WWE audience until we get to that point where we can put him out there in the ring and we can show what he can do.
That is almost exactly what I was going to say, because nobody knew who Adam Pearce was when he first came. But now we all did, but like, you know, the bubble WWE fan doesn't know who
the Travises,
Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis are, and that's kind of what I thought. Like, maybe this is a way
I
to
knew
get
who the
him
Strap Daddy was.
introduced to who Nick Aldis is as a character. And I think it's really smart. It's good to have a second general manager. If you're going to have two shows and you're going to do trades and the draft's going to matter when you say it matters, and then it's not going to matter when it's convenient for your storytelling, I think it's better to have two separate general managers.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying
he's also gone on record and say that he did wear a lot of hats in NWA, so maybe he was doing kind of backstage-esque stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's how he got this job.
Yeah, which is why I was going to say
he
that's
did
the other part of it.
He did a lot for the NWA. He will, you know, if the NWA gets sold by Corgan tomorrow, Corgan's era of the NWA will be known as Nick Aldis' era. Now, maybe in 5 years that changes. Maybe Corgan's got great plans. We'll see what happens. But if Corgan were to sell the NWA tomorrow or shut down or whatever, Nick Aldis will be the guy that we remember from that period of the NWA. I say that period because the NWA has been shut down and bought so many times, it's a zombie. It's always going to come back around somewhere.
Fair.
And so it's literally, if Impact is the cockroach of professional wrestling, the NWA is the flea. The flea just hangs in there and goes around. Point being is Nick Aldis.
More like bedbug.
Yeah, there you go. And so
You're welcome.
thanks. That's what we're here for, to help each other. So yeah, I just personally.
Now that was not detrimental to either company. We're not talking shit. We're just saying.
There is quite literally not a bigger NWA fan.
We have literally heard people refer to Impact as the cockroach because it won't go away. Which, yes, don't go away.
Yeah. Please don't. Yeah.
Please.
Please don't. No one think that we were like talking shit about Impact or NWA in any way, shape, or form.
Corgan, these two can vouch. All right, I love your company hard,
and I love you.
Thanks, buddy.
Well, you and Smashing Pumpkins,
Okay,
and the NWA.
I was hoping you were talking about me, but that's what
I said. And you, and Travis.
Go to hell. All right,
and Buster.
we had a beautiful moment there, and you ruined it. All right, we'll see how it goes.
Wow.
Yeah, I agree that I think that they should have two separate GMs. But at the same time, it does get back to Triple H, you're there every week. Why can't you just do it?
Because nobody wants to see him do it.
Why? First of all, why wouldn't you? My opinion, aside on Triple H.
What?
Because you're always, at least for me.
You can sell more. You can sell a couple more tickets having Triple H as the GM by the show.
For me, I'm always going to worry when that shoe's going to drop and he's going to turn into an asshole again. He's going to fall back on that. And I don't want to see asshole Triple H running shit. It's no fun for me.
Well,
asshole GMs haven't been fun for a long time.
I hear you, but you said people don't want to see that. You mean you.
That's fair.
And I'm not saying that I want to see it either. I'm saying you can sell a few tickets if Triple H becomes a regular part of programming again.
But should your GM be selling tickets for you?
It's all the work. Everybody should be selling tickets for you.
Someone's going to go see Nick Aldis just because it was mild. It wasn't crickets. Some people
were pretty close to crickets.
Some people were aware of who he was.
It was pretty close to crickets. All right, let's keep moving along. Kevin Owens got traded to SmackDown. Why? Why and why?
For Jay. 2 months ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else? What else? There better be other shoes dropping on Friday. Because what else have you been doing for 2 months, Mr. Aldis? I know they just decided to trot him out. It's all storyline, but now there's questions. Okay, you made this deal. You traded Jey Uso for Kevin Owens, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Kevin Owens was on Raw for a month and a half with Jey Uso. Where have you been?
What are you doing?
What else is coming down your pipeline? You better have been doing something. Because, were you just hanging out? Or were you doing your job and planning things as the general manager? I need these things explained in storyline, what you were doing. You had the power, you were the GM, so you made the trade in storyline. But you weren't on TV for a month and a half, and neither was Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens was still on Raw for a month and a half after the trade. I need answers. These are questions that the storyline has provided. What were you doing?
So how do you feel about Kevin Owens being the guy?
I think it's good for Kevin Owens.
Does it make sense?
No.
Okay.
I would have done Sammy.
What say you, Travis?
If you were going to pick one or the other, I'd pick Sammy.
Good idea, bad idea? What sense does it make?
I think it's a good idea. I don't think I would have been opposed to it being Sammy. I don't think it really would have mattered which one you pick. I think it makes sense for the story, at least in the long term it will. But I'm kind of in the same boat with Jason. Whereas I do want to see them put a little bit more substance to the whole trade thing and kind of give us a little bit more to chew on with it. But as far as the overall decision, I don't disagree with it. I don't think it's a terrible decision. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I don't think you could have taken Sammy, because I think this whole dynamic with Sami Zayn and Jey now being friends again is worth it for the story, and plus it gets them both over like they were when they were friends the first time. You could have made the argument it would have been more intriguing with Kevin Owens and Jey to have that play out. But, there's still so much they can do on Raw with Jey, it doesn't even really matter. And now this gives Kevin Owens an opportunity to be another, and this is going to sound bad, but another stepping stone for Roman Reigns till we get to April.
I don't think you use him in that way at all. I think he's in the mid-card. I think that's how you use Kevin Owens right now. Because who's clamoring to see Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns again? It really hasn't been that long. Use him to help the rest of the mid-carders that are struggling to get over. He could have a really good feud with Austin Theory again. Grayson Waller's going to be a really good feud. Wait for all of the Cody Roman WrestleMania stuff before Kevin Owens even sniffs that world championship. It just doesn't make sense.
Oh, well, devil's advocate here of what Travis is saying. Might you need to do it out of necessity? Because we're still a long way from April.
That is fair.
We're still. I'm not.
I would have Kevin Owens be first, or be the next in line. Get that out of the way, and then do what you're talking about.
I'd be all right with that.
Because again, it might be because one of the issues of this title reign, opinions aside on it, is we're running through the face roster.
Not even Halloween.
Yeah, we're running through the face roster. We're about to do LA Knight, it appears, and then you will have you'll have a match at Rumble. I'd assume you'll have a match at Elimination Chamber because it's in Australia. So you got 3 before.
I'm trying to think who's left.
Exactly. Get my point here?
Yeah.
And you also have to take into account they lost an option
once
a couple months ago.
So this is where. It's one of those things.
You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, because you want this fucking reign to never end.
Yeah, 39 was time.
Yeah, probably.
It was time. It was time. How many more T-shirts can we make?
I think SummerSlam was the time still.
So but nonetheless, we all agree that we've gone too long here.
Yeah.
I still think they can make it worth it, but yeah.
I have immense confidence that come WrestleMania, we're fucking into the storyline, some more than others, because you're not that, Roman Reigns guy, and I'm not as much either, but I do like this Roman Reigns better than any Roman Reigns I've ever seen.
Sure.
Right.
But they'll hook us. But it's been too long.
I have no doubt about the idea of a WrestleMania Big Good Story. It's the fact that crazies like us and me, I don't just watch WrestleMania.
Nope.
I'm watching tomorrow. I'm watching tonight. I'm watching next week. It's tough to take even 2 months of boring TV or boring storyline, I should say, to get to the good stuff, because why am I what's my purpose in watching what I'm watching right now? Especially in a market where there's so much to watch all the time, why should I will, because I'm crazy, why should I devote my time to this when after LA Knight, we're going to reach a point, unless you go, I guess you could go John Cena if you wanted to, or something like that, but we've done that. But we're reaching a point where this doesn't matter because we're just getting to WrestleMania. And yes, we have that every year, but it's a little more exhausting when we've done it for 3.
LA Knight makes me nervous, dude.
Why?
It's the wrong call.
Because you can't have him lose.
Yes, you can.
He's the Bryan Danielson of 2023. He got over because of us. Yes, his work provided the fan support that he needed to get over. And yes, this is going to be an amazing opportunity for him. It's going to be great regardless. There's almost no bigger match in the WWE right now than a world title match with Roman Reigns. It's going to be fantastic for his career. But I also think it's going to be damaging because they're not going to pull the fucking trigger because they're hooked on Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania.
But
even though we have picked LA Knight. Everybody loves Cody. Sure.
But Cody's not.
How can you not love Cody?
But Cody's not white hot anymore.
No.
Cody was white hot.
LA Knight is white Daniel Bryan hot right now when he was in WWE.
No, it's... and I don't understand why we're doing this story when we had our chance to do this story. 39 was your opportunity. It's there. We're getting to the same result. Why just... What have we gained long term? What have we gained from extending it a year?
Updating
Nothing.
records. That's all they care about. That's all they care about. Whether that's
records, and we've gotten Jay over and Jimmy over a little bit more than we did at the time.
Whether the records matter in the long run in this crazy ass business sport of pro wrestling, sports entertainment, that's their whole reason behind this. It's going to be their reasoning behind everything.
Well, but see,
the only thing we haven't done is gotten solo.
But here's my issue. Here's my issue, and this is why, I don't get why Triple H gets this grace and Vince doesn't, because they clearly have the same issue, at least right now, which is, I don't care, this is my vision. That's the same thing Vince would do, or is doing behind the scenes or something. I don't care, it's my vision. Well, if you don't care and it's our vision, and it's your vision, then how much better, other than scandal, I get fine the PR purposes, but from a creative standpoint, why is this guy the mecca of manhood when it comes to creative things when he's got the same damn problem? This is my vision.
And you know what? This is a good conversation to have. Because they all fucking do it. Yeah, they all do it. Every promoter fucking does it. Even super nice Tony Khan, even guys on the indies, guys in Impact, NWA. This is my vision, and nothing that the fans tell me is going to change my idea of this vision. The start and stop pushes in AEW when Wardlow was naturally over. Now he's got to do it all over again. Powerhouse Hobbs was naturally over. Now, I think he has the best standing because of what he did to Chris Jericho, because Chris Jericho has never been that gracious in a wrestling match before because he whooped that ass. And Goldberg didn't whoop his ass like that.
Sure.
So it's huge for him. But like in a different aspect, each company has this, oh, you got over, but you weren't in my plan. So hold tight. We'll figure something out. And we're just going to go with my plan instead of riding the fucking lightning and see where it takes you.
The idea of this business is supposed to be, we the fans like such and such or such and such, buy their t-shirts, whatever, buy the buy rates, show us in a marketable asset, bottom dollar way that you like this guy, and we get behind this guy. It's how that's supposed to work. That's why I always tell people that are NASCAR fans or wrestling fans, yes, it's important that you buy merchandise of the guy you like because that sends a message to those companies and those sponsors on the NASCAR side. In wrestling, it sends a message to Vince's bottom line or Tony's bottom line. Look who's selling. Man, we ought to maybe get behind him.
And here's a really good example,
Because
right?
everything about this business is money.
Because Hogan wasn't really shoved down your throat. Sure, his character, Real American, but that's more 80s than anything.
Yeah.
He wasn't shoved down your throat. Neither was Stone Cold Steve Austin. They were chosen by the fans.
Yeah.
But then you
Especially
look at John Cena's career, chosen by the fans as the rapper, moves to hustle, loyalty, respect. They were in a position where you didn't have a choice but to push John Cena, but at the same time, he got shoved down everybody's throats, just like Roman is a babyface. Like, it was... John Cena was so good at rapper John Cena that there was immediate pushback from the fan base, me included. When he went hustle, loyalty, respect, squeaky clean, take your vitamins, say your prayers, drink your milk, John Cena. It took a really long time for people to come. I'm included. It took a few years for me to come around and be like, oh yeah, he is good.
The problem is that showed WWE, Vince, or whoever that if I do it enough,
they're just going to accept it.
And so because that's where they did it with Roman. He was face, and boom, boom, boom. You're gonna either way, somehow or another. That's it.
And then we get dog food.
And so yeah, that was genius. Being very facetious on that. And so to me, I look at it and I go, so if you're just gonna put on what you want to put on, you don't really care about me anyway. Well, you're not.
Well, what am I doing watching all this bullshit?
Then you're not different than Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon at least don't lie to me about that. He doesn't. Fair. He doesn't sit here and pretend that it's for you. It's Vince books from his perspective, and I hope you like it. If you don't like it, tough shit. I just don't personally get that. I don't understand that at all. I hope that changes.
So do I, because I think sure there's certain guys
because the reality is once they feed LA Knight to Roman, as that appears it's going to happen at Crown Jewel, he'll never be as hot as again. He will never be as hot because I believe, and I hope I'm wrong, Travis. I hope I'm wrong. But again, right now, Cody losing at WrestleMania is the equivalent of we got Austin versus Michaels at WrestleMania 14, and Michaels goes over. Why?
Well, at least we would have seen Shawn get beat up by Undertaker.
Oh, Undertaker would have whipped his ass.
We would have whooped that ass.
He was ready to whip his ass. Legit not working. Let's go.
Now they go fishing together.
Yeah.
Probably. I don't know what they do.
Just, a couple of Texas hunters, I'm sure.
That's probably more likely than fishing.
So, I just don't. If we're just taking the long way around to the same story we had, cut out the middleman, trim the fat.
He might not be wrong. I just don't.
I know you all wanted to.
My thing just I wanted Cody to win at WrestleMania first and foremost. I trying to give the benefit of the doubt to the story because I was like you even said. Cody's going to get us hooked when it's time to get us hooked. But that's not what I'm worried about. I'm worried about LA Knight and the damage that this loss is going to do. Because it could do just as much damage to his overall career as the match itself. Because, sure, as good as it is to wrestle Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel, one of their biggest shows, kind of, for whatever reason. Oh, yeah, because of the money. This is the biggest shows because of the money.
Yep.
What's it going to do when he takes the loss? Where's he going to go from there?
And I'm not putting down what we saw on Raw last night, but Look at the step back Shinsuke Nakamura just took last night. No offense to Ricochet, no offense to that.
It was a banger.
It was good.
But yeah,
but it's nowhere
he
near
went
where
from
you
the
were.
world title to Ricochet and I bitched about this on the Bruise Cruise edition of To The Turnbuckle last week. Like, it was detrimental to the story that you're telling to have Seth Rollins go over.
Yep.
He dismantled him mentally and physically leading up to the Last Man Standing match. And he still couldn't get it done. Like, that's detrimental to that's the story you were telling, was that all of this was going to lead to a victory. And instead, Seth Rollins stands up right before 9, wins, and fucking laughs it off 2 days later? That's, now, IWC, that's a fucking burial. Not Undertaker chokeslamming Braun Breaker. Okay? That's the difference.
Triple H's hallmark of creative so far is he is the blue balls of creative. He is, I'm going to get you there, I'm going to get you there. Damn, all of a sudden the girl went home. What? I done bought you dinner. We had a lovely conversation. We were making out and you're going home. You have every right to go home. Don't let me not.
But damn it.
But damn it. You kind of said we were doing it and then you changed your mind. And while they have every right, you can understand where I'm coming from on the whole Triple H is kind of blue balling us about, it looks like this is it.
And with his history with Nakamura, it hurts more. Push that man to the moon in NXT. So you're like, all right, Triple H makes most of because the report hadn't come out yet that he's 99% in control, but we knew he was making majority of the decisions. So we're like, all right, he's going to push another one of his guys. No, he's just John Cena-ing Seth Rollins. The John Cena that everybody got fucking sick of.
Seth Rollins is one of his guys.
Fucking Superman Seth Rollins now. That's why everybody turned on John Cena. Super fucking Cena. Now we got Super fucking Rollins, who's gonna beat Drew fucking McIntyre.
He'd better not.
He's gonna fucking beat him.
He better not.
I have no faith that
he'd better not.
No, both Seth Rollins. I'm calling it now. Both Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns are gonna lose their titles at WrestleMania 40. No earlier. I don't like it, but that's the writing on the wall.
I completely disagree.
If that shriveled nibbler of a man doesn't, man, I'm gonna.
Dude, I hope I'm wrong.
I know you do.
But if he beats Drew McIntyre, who else is there?
I agree. Unfortunately, I'm scared. I agree with you, but man, I'm hoping.
Sammy?
All right.
Sammy would probably be your next choice.
No,
Jay?
I could see either one of those.
All right. Anything more on SmackDown? Are you ready to run the ropes, or what else you want to talk about?
You got anything else, Travis, buddy?
No, I don't think so.
Cool.
I think
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's time for Running the Ropes.
All right, let's do it.
There it goes.
Let's wait on that graphic, and then, to finish up SmackDown while we're waiting just a second, I like the Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, LA Knight defeats Solo Sikoa. Nothing bad there. Nothing bad. Nothing to write home about either.
I agree.
All right, let's run those ropes. So, fellas, let's try to have a civil discussion here.
I don't know.
All right.
I'm not making any fucking promises.
We'll see. Vince is out of creative decision reportedly made by Ari Emanuel, the new owner of WWE, Endeavor, all that. Vince is reportedly focused on TV deals. That's the report I saw from Sports Illustrated was this. Dave Meltzer changes his mind on what's happening every other day as far as Vince and his power. Or
that's pro wrestling journalism.
Because first it was, well, he's going to be the guy, and he's the one that made the call to bring such and such back. Or Dave Meltzer said that Vince was the reason that CM Punk is not coming back to WWE. He said no. And then 2 days later, Vince's power has been marginalized. Pick a side, Dave. You're another senator.
Where's the fun in picking a side?
But the Sports Illustrated report was Ari Emanuel believes, essentially, I'm paraphrasing here, that the company will work better if everybody focuses on the job they're assigned. Ari Emanuel believes that Triple H should make 99% of the creative decisions because he's the chief creative officer, whatever that content officer part.
Yeah.
And then Vince, as the executive chairman, he feels he would be best used to look for new TV deals because Raw and NXT need them. So, all right. I'm going to ask the question. I'm going to let you guys go first.
Ooh.
I'm going to ask the question.
Ooh.
Is Vince on his way out?
Okay.
I would probably say that, yes, once the TV deals are done, Vince is going to be like, if I can't run this bitch, I'm out. And there's no way for him to get power back now. Like, he sold that shit. He might be chief executive officer or whatever, but there's no strong arm my way back on the fucking board this time.
There's no leather to pull, I think.
It's like, son of a bitch. I don't think it's late, because when are the TV deals even up? I know it's soon because they're talking about them, but soon...
24, 25, something like that?
But soon is relative
the end of 24,
when it comes to deals, because you can't, make a fucking TV deal in a month.
Yeah.
So soon...
It's like the end of 24, I think.
Okay, so I would say probably he finishes out 24 if that's when the TV deals come through, regardless if it's September of 24 when the TV deals come through or not. I think end of 2024, Vince McMahon leaves with his head held high. He did everything he wanted. He sold his company. He got the TV deals, both things that he talked about for strong-arming his way back onto the board. I don't think there's much more you can ask for, despite scandals, unless he gets charged with the crime and other things that have been brought to light or not. I don't know, because pro wrestling, the mainstream media covers something for a fucking day, and then it's, it's pro wrestling. Who cares? Yeah,
because the fact that Vince McMahon is still in business at all is pretty shocking. Because he still has his position of executive chairman. Travis, what say you? Is Vince on his way out of WWE?
At first I said no, but the more that we've talked about it off air and I've thought about it, I do believe so.
Any other thoughts you care to elaborate before I go on my diatribe here?
I think Jason's basically right. He by everything that we've read and everything we've heard and all the things that we know about Vince, I think he truly thought that things were going to go down a little bit better whenever he got the position that he did on the board of Endeavor, and thought that was going to give him a little bit more leverage than it actually did. And now that that's clearly becoming not the case, or at least if we're to believe that's not becoming the case, if we know anything about Vince, he's not going to take kindly to that, or he's not going to enjoy that. And if that doesn't have any signs of changing, which I can't see how it would, because like Jason said, he cannot by his own power climb any higher in the ladder. There's nothing he can do from a business standpoint that's going to promote himself to a higher standing in the company, which is something that I originally thought was the case anyway. But the more that he was given power through Endeavor's board, it was kind of questioning whether or not he was going to be able to find a way. But the more the stories come out, and now him being basically phased out of creative, I don't see a path for him to get any more in power than he was at the start of this thing. So knowing Vince is no dummy. He may make some stupid mistakes and stupid decisions, but he's not a dumbass. He's gonna take his ball and go home.
All right, it's time for my diatribe, and I don't mean at all to toot my own horn, but I did predict his strong arming back. I predicted it long before anybody else did.
Yes, you did.
And I predicted that move. And now here's my official prediction, but I'm going to give you two scenarios. My official prediction is, yes, he's on his way out. I don't think he's got any more levers to pull. I think that he'll look and go, this company clearly doesn't need me anymore, and while he will love the fact that it's succeeding, an egomaniac like him who put his life work into this will also really be hurt by the fact that there's no place for me. Because he's not the kind of guy to be happy just being there as a public facer. I'm sure he has some things that he's very involved in as the executive chairman.
Oh, I'm sure.
Technically, he's second in command of the entire company as far as it's Ari Emanuel and then Vince as far as the way it's structured and as the chairman of the board. So I'm sure he's working right now on something. Now, the question is what? I think he's on his way out, and I think he's gone shortly after WrestleMania. That is my guess, because they'll announce the deals, I would bet, no later than the first of the year, somewhere around that. If not next week. I mean, it could happen any time, and I think that's what he'll do and help with, because the reality is his business mind is incredible, and it's a vast knowledge. You wouldn't want to lose it, but for the knowledge he brings that might be only a little better than Nick Khan, is it worth the scandal that potentially comes with him? That's a great question, and I don't know. It depends. Here's what I think happened, because I do buy the reports that he's been phased out of creative. I think either Vince got kind of conned, the ultimate chess player finally lost one, or schemer, and I don't mean he's truly an evil schemer. He either will cash out and leave and go, all right, I lost one. Damn. Okay, I'm going to go count money. Or because he's absolutely batshit crazy, and he proved that more than ever this year. Or he's going to wait, and he'll continue to be in the ear of Ari Emanuel, and he'll wait for that downturn in business, and he'll continue to charm and personalize and endear himself, because when he wants to, he's likable as hell, because he's got charm. And he'll wait for that downturn in business and go, see? And he'll get back in one or two ways. I think option A is much more likely. But if he's planning to just bide his time, which is always possible because he's a lion scheming sack of human snake feces, he's evil. Like, you know how dark Don Cheadle is?
Yeah.
That's how black his heart is.
Oh, God.
See, I thought you were going like he's going to go partner up with Tony.
No, I don't think he could. I don't think he's got the. That would be if he doesn't get to pick his exit. If he doesn't get to pick his exit, then yeah, he'll try to do something.
Could call it Tony Khan that day.
Because think about all the money he can make,
right?
So
I wouldn't even call Tony. I'd call Scott D'Amore.
If he doesn't get to pick his exit, he'll absolutely try to blow something up and create life living hell.
Well, if he wants to own a whole company again, then yeah, he would need to call Scott D'Amore.
But I don't think my guess is I think he'll get to pick his exit and move on or whatever, and I don't know what that'll entail, because the last time it entailed he lost his face. And so, or he's going to bide his time and he'll wait for that inevitable downturn in business, and you cannot put it past him, because this man didn't make a position for his kids, for God's sake. And he'll wait for that inevitable downturn in business, and because he is charming as hell, he'll get, Ari, look at this. Live attendance. Look at these ratings. People don't like what he's doing. And if you don't think he can't do that, you're out of your mind.
No, I'm not. I've looking at past experience and what Vince McMahon has done, yeah, he would totally do that.
Because he is an absolute, I mean, he lied to his dying father.
But bro, like, how you can't do that to the father of your grandchildren.
So if
that's messed up, bro.
So for everybody
come on.
Everybody going, the Vince era is gone. And again, I think that's what's going to happen here. I think he will bow out. But I did a lot of digging and research. It is always very possible that he goes, all right, I'm going to do my job. I'm going to find the best deals possible, and I'm going to prove it to you.
I'm going to hang out.
Yep, and I'm going to wait, because at some point, old Big Nose over here is going to screw up. And as soon as he does, he's sliding in like a teenager into a girl's DMs. So, do you see that real possibility, Jason? If he were to, because think about it. Here is what, again, I've said my official prediction, but we like to paint all angles here. Did he really fight tooth and nail? Did he really strong arm? Did he really do all these things just to retire 6-7 months later? Arguably, no.
No, I don't think he did, but he got outplayed this time.
And I agree with you. It appears that he did. But can he be satisfied with that? And I don't know. I don't know.
I totally think he's not satisfied with it, but I don't know if there's anything he can do about it. Because I don't
know if there is either.
I don't know if he can sweet talk Ari into making that change because of what Ari said.
I think he can, with enough time, I think he could sweet talk anybody with enough time. Because he has that charming ability to just go, you like me, don't you? It's weird. It's really, because the fact that he's even a part of the business and has any power is impossible. How? Why? Look at him. No, not just his face. Look at the scandal in Hollywood Reporter today or yesterday. They called Vince McMahon an alleged sexual predator. How is he second command in your company?
Pro wrestling?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only reason.
Anything is possible. So I don't know. My guess is, I would be shocked if at this time we're still talking about him in the WWE. But until he's gone, don't count your chickens, because he's a conniving, evil genius. There's a reason that he has as much power as he does to this point, because there's no reason he should. Remember, the board turned him down and said, nah. And he said, well, that ain't working for me, brother. So I don't know. My guess is he's on his way out, but don't be surprised if he goes, all right, I'm going to get you the best damn TV deal you can possibly have. And then I'm just going to wait, because at some point a downturn's going to hit, and guess what you're going to do? You're going to go, what are we doing? Why aren't we doing this? Because Ari Emanuel is not a wrestling guy. And people that aren't wrestling guys are easily manipulated by wrestling guys.
I mean, that's fair.
Vince is the ultimate manipulator.
We'll see.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
Travis Snapper, any final thoughts on that second potential scenario?
Nope.
All right. But you could see it.
Maybe.
You just don't. Boy, you didn't like that, maybe.
Yeah, that was not a happy maybe
You
at
went,
all.
you went, oh, God, I really... Like, no, I think so. I think he's finally lost one. But I've been there before. Remember how upset I was at his retirement? And he said, give me time. Give me time. All right. So WrestleVote says the Wallen Devils has been clear about open to Monday night, moving from Raw, from moving nights. The tons of people backstage hope it stays on Monday. What do you make of all the scuttlebutt that Raw might move? I think it would be a detrimental, awful mistake. Travis, what say you?
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think it'll be a detrimental mistake, but I do think it would end up being a mistake.
You'll go down to NXT numbers.
I wouldn't go that far.
It's so habitual viewership. It is so... In 5 months, you'll be at NXT numbers. It's habitual viewership. I get people say, well, they'd have more if they were off Mondays. It's ingrained in the brand. It's ingrained. Yeah, you remember when they were Seinfeld off Thursdays?
Yeah.
No, they didn't. They didn't. I don't.
No, when they ended,
they fucking didn't.
When they ended, they did.
So it just... No, when you start moving days, it's Monday Night Raw every week since January, 20th, 1993? Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, my thing is, why move it anyway? Sure, ratings are down during football season, but ratings are down for everything during football season. And what night are you going to go to?
He said that he would be open to Tuesdays or Thursdays.
Tuesdays or Thursdays
is what Ari Emanuel said that he would be open to.
Even though a lot of people don't like Thursday night football, people still watch Thursday night football. So there's a more ratings turned down. Like I don't see.
But if you give me a choice between Raw and Thursday night football, I'm choosing Raw.
Yeah, but what about the people that like football more than wrestling? There's more of those out there.
True.
They will turn. If all we're getting is the Bears versus the Broncos, I'm choosing Raw.
Well, yes, I agree. Me too. But what about those people that love football the way we love wrestling, but they also like wrestling? They're going to pick football, even if it's going to be a shitty football game.
Even they hate Thursday night football.
I know. I said everybody hates it, but everybody watches it. It's weird. It's like WWE in 2005. Fucking terrible, but we watched it all anyway.
Well, plus you have
because there was no competition, so there was no reason to get better.
Plus you have Impact on Thursdays. You have Ring on Thursdays.
There's a lot.
Eventually, scripted TV will be back once the deals all get worked out. There's no reason. I'm sorry. I think it would be a huge mistake.
Unless you don't have a choice, you keep that shit on Monday. And who would say no to that?
And again, I'm not saying that the first month or two wouldn't be.
It'll be rough.
Yeah, I'm not saying the first month or two wouldn't be even a success. But I'm talking about wrestling viewership is habitual. especially WWE, we turn it on because that's what we do. How many times in any era of Raw have you turned on Raw just because it's Mondays? Mondays at 8, that's what we do. Or Mondays at 9 back in the day.
All the time.
That's what we do. I'm telling you.
And you could watch WCW for an hour.
It would be dead.
And that first hour was fire, too, because they want to try to keep you. Those were the days. Not really.
Mm-hmm.
But they were. Those were the days.
They
They were.
Detrimental, I'd think. All right. Adam Copeland and Ricky Starks were legitimately upset at each other following the Barbs on Collision.
I'm not sure if, I think upset is probably the right term. You could tell that there was under the skin moments. You could tell. But I do know, I don't know Edge personally. But I've seen the storylines and he's been in. I've seen the real life shit he's gone through. I don't think he took it personally, aside from that segment.
I think Ricky took exception to being called a dumbass.
Probably, but hey, man, if you're gonna fire shots, you gotta be willing to take them back.
And
yeah, but bug-eyed compared to being called a vanilla version of The Rock and a dumbass,
I mean,
if they haven't learned anything from the CM Punk debacle, it's how about we clear our insults with each other?
But that's a CM Punk problem.
Well, maybe not.
Look. I am a firm believer. You do not tell them what you're going to say, but you give them a heads up. It's going to get rough out there.
Well,
if that didn't happen, it's kind of messed up. And bug-eyed isn't that big of an insult, yes, but maybe to Edge it is. Everybody has different levels. Everybody has different levels of things. If there was a short what are you guys going to do out there? I'm going to come for your throat. Okay, cool. But if that's a conversation that is had, no harm, no foul.
But the fact that we're having this discussion only 2 weeks into Edge's run, or Adam Copeland's run, is not a good thing.
But nothing happened. They took shots at each other. No social media shots. No interviews shooting at each other.
Hold on. I've been with you a whole lot lately over the last several months. But we all agreed if there was any drama post-Punk in any 6 months after.
But this is pro wrestling.
If you're able to piss off this version of Adam Copeland, somebody did something wrong. I don't know who. He's so welcoming and kind and so glad to be there.
Look, pissing someone, but what I'm saying is he pissed him off in the moment. Adam Copeland isn't going to take that shit personally the way CM Punk did.
How do we know? How do we know?
Because Adam Copeland has been through a lot more shit in his career, like I said when I first started talking about it. He worked programs with Matt Hardy after all that bullshit. You think he took what Ricky Stark said personally?
I don't think so, but the idea that it would be pretty unfathomable, I think, is a stretch, and I'll tell you why. Because it's a different generation. There does, even if you don't mean to, Edge is going to have a sense of who the hell is this guy? Who the hell? I'm 50 years old. I'm over here trying to help this company. I think it's very easy for things to spiral out of control.
Maybe they're playing with fire. But here's the difference between the CM Punk situation and what we may have brewing from Saturday. It was handled in the moment. He shot at Edge. Edge shot back. Promo got back on track. CM Punk waited months. He stewed on it. Ricky Starks got his receipt. He got his receipt. If something else comes from it, I will come on this show. I will say I was fucking wrong. But right now, to me, Ricky got his receipt, and it is what it is.
Travis, where do you stand on this debate of what I'm saying? I hope you get my point. I'm not saying that he's wrong. I'm saying that generational gap, and when you're a guy when you're a Hall of Famer, you might go, damn, that guy really said that to me, and really be upset, more upset than you should be, because it's all a sensitive business anyway, a bunch of egos. What do you think, Travis, about this whole situation?
I think you also have to look at the two mindsets of the guys that we're talking about.
Sure.
Mostly talking about Edge and CM Punk, because that's the comparison that we're making, right?
Yep.
And I think the biggest thing that I look at is how they got back into the business. And I think that plays a part into this. The reason I have a little bit more confidence in Edge is because not only do I think Edge is a little bit more level-headed in general, but Edge is coming from a place of a guy that had this taken away from him and had to fight his way back to it. That's not a guy that I think is going to go out there and intentionally do things or intentionally let things fester to the point that it possibly gets taken away from him again. And I'm not saying that it's ever going to get to that point, but I don't think he's going to do something that's going to tarnish that for him. Whereas CM Punk came back to wrestling after he walked away from it. He didn't have to come back, and Edge didn't either, but he could have come back at any point. It was never not an option for him. For the longest time, it was not an option for Edge. And I think that gives you a different mindset. It puts you in a different mindset to go, I lost this once before. I'm not about to do it again. I may have made a mistake, but I'm going to do everything I can to fix that.
Well, I think Edge is just more personable.
That too.
That's
definitely a part of it too.
I don't know Edge personally, but everything you hear about him, he's nicer than fucking Chris Jericho backstage and trying to help people. I could see Edge as the kind of guy when that's done, stopping in Gorilla and pulling Ricky aside like, are we good? You gave me a good shot there. I fired back. Are we good? Nothing personal. We're doing a show. That's the kind of professional that Edge, Adam Copeland, strikes me as because I watched his whole career, because I saw him work that feud with Matt after all the shit with Edge, Lita, and Matt. So from prior experience, this is just barely a dot on my radar. And we also have to remember the pluses and minuses of creative freedom. Don't always have to check everything. You can, like I said, the professional thing to do is, hey, I'm coming for your throat. Give it right back, but I'm coming for you. Mm-hmm. That's the professional thing to do. I go back to Jericho's first VCR tape, mind you, VCR tape, his first WWE special when he was talking about the Stephanie McMahon bottom-feeding trash bag hoe line. He approached Vince. Is this okay? He said, yeah, sure. Don't tell Stephanie, and pause when you're done when the crowd, so the crowd can react. That's pro wrestling. That never, generation now, generation 50 years ago, that's pro wrestling. And that's why I don't think CM Punk fit. Somewhere along those 7 years, he lost that idea of what pro wrestling is supposed to be. You're going to get pissed off at people. But when you take it personally, that's when it becomes an issue. So hopefully this isn't a personal issue. This is, I don't even want to call it a learning experience. I want to call it, if that was me out there, haha, you got me real good, because I'll take it back to when the dude threw the dildo at me and hit me in the face in the middle of the promo. I didn't fucking yell at him when the show was over. I said, fucking asshole. That was a good one. That's what you're here for. You are here for entertainment. Entertainment isn't always pretty. Entertainment isn't always nice. It is what it is.
Well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, you're right. Hopefully,
I hope so.
Yeah, I really
and
don't.
not just to be right, but I want to reiterate the fact that yes, there's a lot of drama in AEW, and it's overshadowed a lot. But people forget that this happened everywhere in every company in the history of pro wrestling. And sometimes you take it too far, and some guys are like, you got me. Don't do that shit again. But you got me. Like CM Punk could have done that in the back and everything would have been fine. Hopefully, maybe if one of them were pissed, you took it too far. You got me. It was good. Made for good television, but please don't do that again.
Gotcha. No, I hope so. Okay, number 4. According to what multiple sources close to WWE told Sports Illustrated's Justin Barrasso, there are no plans to have The Rock face Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania 40. Unless the situation changes dramatically, Barrasso writes, the main event of next year's WrestleMania belongs to Cody Rhodes. LA Knight is the only name SI gives much of a chance to take that spot from Cody, but he'd need a Becky Lynch / Daniel Bryan type groundswell of support to have a shot. Right now, Knight is a building block to get Reigns to April. Travis, what are your thoughts?
I'm not surprised that the Rock and Roman thing is probably back off the table. I didn't have a lot of confidence in it to begin with, even with Rock coming back for that one-off, which I do think that's what that was. I know Rock said a whole bunch of stuff on the Pat McAfee show, and that's great. Like, he did his job on the show, and honestly, some of the stuff I wish he would have just not said altogether, but nothing about what happened during that entire week had me giving any sort of confidence that he was going to come back, even if the strike for the actors continues on for a little bit longer. I don't see anything that would make me confident that Rock would be coming back for a WrestleMania feud. And I don't think he needs to. I think they've got a lot of great options that they can stick with Roman for that event. I'm not surprised that Cody is still the story either. We just kind of talked about that. I believe them when they say that LA Knight is the only name that is given much of a chance to take that spot. And I do think that's still on the table, even if this match does take place at Crown Jewel and LA Knight loses. I think it's still very much still on the table because he could still win the Royal Rumble. Does that happen? I don't know. I'd say it's probably a 60-30 chance that it doesn't. And that Cody is still the ipso facto guy that's going to face Roman at WrestleMania. But I'm intrigued to see how far along we get with this and what happens after Crown Jewel and whether or not that has any bearing on whether or not that gets a little bit higher to 50-50. So, I mean, I expected the second part of that with the Cody and the LA Knight thing. Let's see where it goes towards the end of the year and to see how the year starts and see where we go from there. Either one of those matches, though, obviously we all would love to watch. We wouldn't have a problem with either one of them. I'd love to see Cody. I'd love to see LA Knight at a Mad Mania with Roman. So either way they go, I think they win.
Jason, thoughts?
I mean, yeah. There's no one else that could fill that role for Cody, I guess, other than LA Knight. But you can't. Why'd you leave? If that happens, and LA Knight gets a groundswell, Bryan Danielson, Becky Lynch-esque, and they move the belt to him instead of Cody, why'd you leave? This is why he left.
Yep.
Did he get caned? Because I feel like back in the day, he had that one thing in his contract, in his first one, I get to be world champion once. So they gave it to him for a day. Mm-hmm. Is Cody about to get caned? Yeah, we'll make you world champion. Oh, just kidding. We're not gonna. I don't want to see that. Do I want to see LA Knight as the champion? Hell yeah, I do. But I worry about what it means for Cody Rhodes. Because very similar to the Nakamura Seth Rollins, like, we didn't finish the story. Are we sure we're even gonna? Well, yeah, the reports say we're gonna. But are we gonna?
If Cody wins at Mania, he's got to have at least a year, right?
Oh, I would fucking hope so. But then we're in the same damn boat we were in before.
Because if he loses it quickly as a transition champion, whether that's a day, 2, 3 months, whatever,
I'd make him open challenge that shit. That way it can be a short reign, but it's a worthwhile one. You know, the whole he's pushed himself too far instead of the inverse of Roman, basically. Roman never wrestles, Cody always does, and eventually it cost him the championship, and then we get back to what Paul Heyman said leading up to WrestleMania 3019, you can have the titles, but you won't have me telling you what to do to keep it longer. I don't know.
We'll see how it all shakes out. I hate that it's a good match, don't get me wrong. I hate, though, that they're doing LA Knight versus Roman at Crown Jewel. Mm-hmm. I think it's a mistake because I don't think he becomes ever as hot. Because if you do some sort of DQ finish, Dusty style, and that implies he's going to get the belt eventually, and then what do you do with Cody? If he loses, you lose some of that momentum. And to quote Daniel Bryan, this business is incredibly fickle. And while if Cody Rhodes is the best case of losing momentum and keeping it, because I would say he's red hot, not white hot, can you have two red hot guys? Because the worst case scenario, is in recent memory right now Shinsuke Nakamura, who goes right back to Ricochet. No offense to Ricochet, I'm glad they're still on TV. It was still fun to watch.
It's a banger,
but it's a step way down in terms of card and prestige from Seth Rollins. And so, or do you go somewhere in between and be Sami Zayn, who all of a sudden, as hot as he was in February, where we were like, man, maybe they ought to put it on him. Now he's, what are we doing?
You know, the smartest thing might be is after Crown Jewel, trade LA Knight with Cody Rhodes. Since they're doing trades now, trade them.
Oh, the brand split's irrelevant.
I understand, but if it fits the narrative, they just did a trade in storyline, so let's do another one. Feed him, because we all know he's getting fed to Roman, regardless of how long the match goes, how good LA Knight is and looks in that match. He's getting fed to Roman.
Yep.
We can all agree on that.
Yep.
So ship him to Raw, and he can beat Seth. Then we get the World Championship run for LA Knight. We're slowly revamping the story with Cody and Roman. Maybe it gives it a little more oomph and Roman can just beat the shit out of Cody leading up to the Rumble. Now there's questions. Is Cody going to be 100% enough to even win the Rumble? Because he's not going to get 30 again. Or you can say, like Paul Heyman could say, I'll make sure you can't get 30 again. I'm going to make sure you get one, or however you want to go about it. But I think that preserves LA Knight and their goddamn story. Because, I do think this is one of the greatest stories they've told in wrestling in a long time. But it's getting really long in the tooth, and it's blatantly obvious that this story is just to break records from when there were just territories and not enough guys to be the world champion.
Yeah,
like, we're talking about Bruno Sammartino and Hulk Hogan, as great as they are. There's not a long list of legends at the top at the same time as them that could have carried the company. So I don't understand why we have to rewrite all these records. It almost shits on Hulk Hogan and Bruno Sammartino for what they were able to do for the business with limited stars.
And frankly, it's weird because Vince has never shown...
Yes, I just defended Hulk Hogan. What
a day.
Weird.
What a day. And Vince has never shown, and I know that, again, he's a little on the outs creatively at the moment, but this all started with him, and he's still been heavily involved. Vince has never shown much reason to go back and even reference that era, especially Bruno, because they had such a weird relationship. I don't think it's worth it anymore. I
don't think it is either.
Like, it just because...
The biggest thing is we're all in on the joke.
Yeah.
When they set these records, for whatever reason, no one was in on the joke.
Yeah, it was...
We were in on the joke prior, and then all of a sudden everybody forgot.
Yeah,
and then now we're in on the joke again.
And plus, it's such a different time. And to their credit, let me give Triple H and Vince or whoever a ton of credit here that they've made this last and work way longer than I ever thought possible. And credit to both of them because I think they've both have been instrumental at different periods to making that happen. But at what point do you stop sacrificing your whole roster for it when, especially because this is a different time. If you sacrificed your roster for Hulk Hogan because Hulk Hogan was insanely over to the point of he was a crossover star. He was on...
and there was nobody else.
He was on Carson. He was in movies. He was doing everything. And also, he was politicking to make sure that. This isn't that era anymore. Luckily, you don't even need to have that era anymore. WWE, as a matter of fact, they're strategic about the fact that they don't want anyone to become that big anymore.
Because Austin, Rock, Hogan, Cena,
they all took
left giant holes when they left.
And so, and Travis, I'll come to you on this, because you're the biggest defender of the story at this point on this show right now. Mm-hmm. What's the point in this now? Other than, like, is it worth the big historic reign that no one was like, man, someone's got to catch Bruno 10 years ago, or no one catered, if that makes sense. I'm not putting down Bruno or Hogan. God knows I wouldn't put down Hogan. But nobody thought or cared for a long time. The The only one in recent memory that we ever did care about was CM Punk in his 434 days, and that felt like forever.
Yeah, it did.
Nobody was clamoring to see all the records changed or broken, and so
I still think booking to break records in a predetermined industry is a good booking
weird.
prospect.
Yeah,
it's weird.
it's-
Like you said, has it worked? Sure. I feel like we had the same conversation last year about hurting the rest of the roster. I believe I've heard those exact words from your mouth a year ago about this storyline.
because that's where we're at.
And you know, to your credit, because you did say earlier that I'm sure they get us back into it come WrestleMania, and they did the same goddamn thing last year.
But the reality is, it makes the roster look like shit.
And it doesn't help when Seth's doing the same fucking thing.
Nobody can beat anybody. The only people that can lose are apparently Cody and Jay. Because we have a, and I get that champions should be extra. I get that. It should be the final boss.
Well, yeah,
But the point of playing the game is to eventually beat the game.
Exactly.
And yeah, we might get there at 40, but I mean, even if you look at Seth, here we are with Shinsuke. Frankly, it looks like, and as great as Gunther is, it's starting to look like we should have just pulled the trigger on Gable that night.
Probably.
Because now all of a sudden he's doing the comedy 1030 routine. Like, what? What?
What are we doing?
Napper, talk to me. There's a lot to unpack there. Go for it.
I don't think the entirety of the run has been about breaking the records. I do think that's a big part of it, but I don't think it's entirely about been breaking the records. What I do think a part of it is become evaluating who gets as hot as they can during this run and who we have to work on that level when the time comes. Because there's, every single person that they've put in that run with Roman up to this point, a lot of them are still relatively hot. Are they as hot as they were at the time they faced Roman? No. But I think it's also become a little bit of an evaluation period to see who's the hot stars that we can use in the future and get to that point to carry the company, and also to bring people to that level to where – because 5 years ago, there was maybe a handful of guys at the top of the main card, and we talked about this before, but like – 5 years ago, if not even a little bit less time than that, there was only maybe a handful of guys at the top of the main card that were main event stars, that were guys you thought were going to be in the title picture. There were guys that you probably wanted to be in the title picture, but they weren't as popular as maybe some of the other guys were, the guys that they did have in that main picture. Now there's like 10 or so guys, if not more than that they have at the top of the main title picture that you can see at any given point going into that spot. I think that's the point, is they're trying to get to a point in the company where you have that to where at any moment we can take this, and this guy and put them in that spot. Yes, is it damning to them to put them in that spot and then take it away from them? Yes, but it's also proving which guys can handle that and still get to the point where they are the hottest thing in the company and who can't. A lot of the people that they've put in that position, I have a lot of confidence that they put them back in that spot. Sure, it might not be as hot as it was at the time that we all thought they should win the match, but it still proves that we can do it. If they put Sami Zayn in a title match or a title opportunity with Seth Rollins tomorrow, I guarantee it sells almost as good as the Roman and Seth thing, or the Roman and Sami thing. Maybe not as good, because obviously that for first thing, it happened in Canada, and I don't think they're going to do that again with him and Seth. But I think it gets pretty darn close. I think if you do Shinsuke Nakamura and Seth again, at some point it's probably going to be pretty good. It might not be as good as it was, a couple weeks ago, but I think you can still get there. I think they're trying to prove a point that they can build those guys back up.
I don't think you can rebuild Shinsuke.
Why? He's still over.
He had the perfect plan to take the title, and you don't give it to him?
It didn't work.
What else are you going to do? There's nothing else to do. He did everything right.
He did everything. The title off it?
But he did everything. The story they were telling was that Shinsuke's doing everything right to take out Seth Rollins, and then 2 days after Shinsuke loses, Seth Rollins ain't even limping.
That's more Seth thing than it is anybody else.
Why isn't he getting bitched at then? What are you doing? You're making Nakamura look weak.
Because he's Seth freaking Rollins.
So, like, I can kind of see, like, the evaluation period that you were talking about. I can see that to a point. But, I mean, let's go in the way, way, way back machine. What if they did this to Shawn when he wrestled Brett at WrestleMania 12? And they said, we're only in the third chapter after Shawn gets beat by Bret Hart in the Iron Man match. It's hypothetical, but what happened? You don't have the boyhood dream comes true. You don't have any of that shit.
Wrestling was also at a different point at that time, though.
But if the
we're at a boom period again for wrestling, to the point where your job should be to bring everybody back up to the point where they are the hottest thing on your TV program. And for the last 5 years, for a handful of guys, that was the case. But for everybody else, it wasn't.
Well, but the only person that's undeniably made better by all this, undeniably, everything else is an argument, is Jey Uso. Everybody else you can make a debate on.
But therein lies the problem with, like, yeah, wrestling's different. We got a bunch of people that could possibly take the ball and run with it. So let someone. You're never going to know. You're never going to know. Eventually they will, but we all know it's earmarked for Cody right now. But, like,
for that title, I do think that Seth is going to lose from now till Mania.
I don't think he is. If he beats Drew... If he beats Drew...
I don't think he does.
I certainly hope not.
God, I hope you're right. God, I hope
certainly
you're right.
hope not. But, I mean, after the last storyline, he's fucking Roman Reigns on Raw.
There's also still one scenario that's out there that is going to take away all of this, and his name is Damian Priest.
Because I have faith they're going to let him cash it in successfully.
Don't see why not.
When was the last time, other than Austin's Theory, who challenged for the U.S. Championship of all fucking things, they cashed in properly? I hope they do. I hope it's fantastic. I don't have the faith in their Money in the Bank storytelling like I used to.
Well, that was also Vince booking.
No, Triple H booked.
So I don't.
Triple H booked the Austin Theory
the
cash in for the U.S. title.
That was during Vince's retirement. Now, could he have been pulling a string somewhere? Yeah, it's possible, but.
Fair, but he wasn't the one that gave. I don't think he was the one booking Austin winning that.
Look,
I agree with the decision to make Austin give up the briefcase at that time because it was the right thing to do. Because otherwise, I saw no scenario where Austin Theory was going to beat Roman Reigns.
So have him miss it and lose to Roman. It's better to have a match with Roman Reigns than nothing. You can still find your way into the U.S. title picture. But what did he do with the U.S. title?
That's him.
No, I mean, that's the booking, but okay. Not everything's on the wrestlers. It's all the situations they're put in.
Some of it is.
I agree, some of it is. But it's also the position that you're put in. It was like Triple H gave him the title to do Vince a favor because he was a Vince guy, but then forgot about him completely. Right? He had a lackluster United States title run.
I've been screaming from the hills for quite some time on this show that I've been worried about Austin Theory standing since.
No, him and Grayson Waller is a great pairing. They work great together. That's a great, stopgap for him. But we'll have to see where it goes. I mean, I have as much faith in and like I said, hopefully they prove me wrong in the Money in the Bank booking as I do as Tony Khan getting Wardlow back over. And I hope I'm wrong on that too. But I mean, that's where I'm at.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
so your honeymoon period with Triple H is over.
I mean, we'll see.
But it feels like that.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't shot to the hills about Triple H's booking for a minute. I mean, is it entertaining? Sure, but the only thing I've said is let the man just do his job. I don't think I've been like, yeah, Triple H booking, rah! But I'm like,
there's a section of people that are
there,
like that.
oh, I know, but like I think I've tried to be open-minded about it and be like, okay, what he's doing is working. Looking at the ratings that I hate and the live attendance and all that stuff, it's like why my opinion was always like, why change what works? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's where I was always at between the Triple H and Vince booking side of it.
All right, and finally, Karrion Kross told, let's call him CVV.
CVV.
That he and Bray Wyatt were slated to do something together this year at WrestleMania 39, and only some writers and the office people knew about it. Kross talked about it for hours with Wyatt, and some of their ideas included Alexa Bliss, Scarlett, and Bo Dallas. Do you think that would have came to fruition? I don't know, because they've had so many stops and starts with Kross.
Maybe. I think if Bray wanted to do it, yeah, for sure. I think if it was a big part of Bray pushing to do it, it would have gotten done for sure. If we wouldn't have lost Bray Wyatt. Right.
I just feel like that. Why didn't they do a tease then? Did they do a tease during that Rumble match? I don't remember.
I don't know.
Oh.
I'm talking about the Mountain Dew Pitch Black at Rumble. Was there a tease? I don't remember.
Did Kross come out and beat up LA Knight?
I don't.
It was over. That was a really long time ago.
When did Alexa Bliss announce she was pregnant?
A while ago. 10 months? 11 months?
Thank you for that.
No problem. Because I think she had the child.
Has she had it?
I think.
No, not yet.
I think she's about ready to pop. Not quite.
Close, but not quite yet, Sparky. I think that put a damper in it more than anything.
Bray Wyatt will unfortunately always be a what if.
Yeah.
It sucks. All right, let's talk a little Collision. Travis.
Best damn what if ever.
Agreed.
I don't know. Some of them Marvel comics are pretty legit.
This is a wrestling podcast, bud. Good job.
Can't say that while wearing the hat.
I'm sorry?
So, Napper, I'm going to assume you didn't watch Collision, so I'll try to fly through this, okay?
I didn't. I watched Dynamite on accident.
Nice job.
Wow, on accident.
Well, I didn't know that I did. I guess I didn't read the Collision part of the rundown, and so I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna watch Dynamite. I'm gonna be up to speed."
So you read half of the fucking rundown?
God, what do I sit up?
I read it. I printed it.
All right, so we'll try to make this quick and then get to Raw. Okay. Try to make this quick and then get to Raw.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. So Adam Copeland. So do you want me to bring you in? I'll bring you in on the Sting discussion.
Okay.
Dapper, anything else you want to touch on when we get to it?
Oh, let me see. No, maybe not.
I want to touch on Statlander and Sky Blue. It's not on the rundown.
Okay.
Because it was on Collision, too.
All right. I thought I put it down. All right.
You might have hit, backspace by accident.
Yeah, I might have. Who knows? It's hard to tell. I was really tired by the time I did this.
I bet.
I'm usually not, but for some reason, I was like, man, because I remember sitting there staring blankly around right here and going, man, I'm in there.
It's weird, and now I'm half awake at 10:30 because I don't smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day.
Good man.
Yay!
I'll have a late night texting buddy. Ish. All right, so
11 is late for me.
So Adam
he never
Copeland,
answers his phone anyway. What the hell?
I responded today.
He responds to me pretty consistently via text.
Sometimes.
It's just me.
It's not like
I respond to you via text more often than chat.
That's fair.
It's not like every 2 minutes, but within 30, you'll get there.
The chat's like, it's fine. Text message I got to get back to.
Well, and it's not his fault either because he's got to backspace about 20 times because he fat fingers so much.
That's true. Just fucking pause over here, man. It's ridiculous.
Adam Copeland, Bryan Danielson, Christian Cage, and Ricky Starks all faced off. Thought this was a good segment. I thought it got a little bloated though. I thought you were convoluting too many cooks in that particular kitchen of a segment.
I thought it really so this is the other thing about the shoot. I think that hurt the segment.
Yeah,
it threw them both off. and they both had to get their footing because it's like, you fucking asshole, I'm about to get you right back. And so it threw off the segment because I loved that Ricky Starks came out there, hid behind security, and he was like, and get down about halfway, and he stuck his head out and started cutting promo. I'm like, that's fucking fantastic. Like, the whole thing was really good, but I think it got a little long-winded when they went at each other's throats like that. Like, sure, it's like, oh, damn, I know damn well from the look in their faces that was a shoot, but it threw them both off for a second. They recovered, but I think it did, like, overall, you're like, oh, you kind of lost, when you saw them both kind of lose it and have to come back, it took you longer to get back into the segment.
Yeah, because it did feel like, was that part of the plan?
Yeah, because now that's where your brain's at. Yeah. Oh shit! He just took a took a shot at him. Holy cow!
Because even watching the segment without knowing it was, because I mean I watched it when we got back from the show because
I watched that.
I was pretty up and wide.
I finished it today before the show, but I started Sunday.
And so I didn't know about those rumors yet, and so I was like, this feels like it got a little weird. So I thought it was a good segment, what I did. I thought it was a little convoluted and definitely did suffer from them kind of shooting on each other because they both were not expecting the other to do that. It was clear. I thought it was good shooting.
I thought it was too.
But I don't know if it's in Adam's best interest to try to shoot back and inadvertently delegitimize an up-and-coming star.
I think you have to shoot back because that's a receipt. Like I don't think you have a choice. But like when we talked about it and more in depth, you just have a conversation when it's over. Like, hey, warn me next time.
Yeah,
so I can be ready for something. Like, don't fucking tell me what you're gonna say.
But let me know it's coming.
But let me know something's coming so I can kind of develop something in my brain. So we're not sitting there for 30 seconds trying to think of something to say.
Juice Robinson defeated Christopher Daniels. This did its job. It was trying to get Juice Robinson a win over a quote-unquote credible veteran. Nice to see Christopher Daniels on mainstream television. No offense to Raymond, but it's a streaming service. Christopher Daniels is still good enough to get it done. Where are you right now at the Bullet Club Gold?
I like Bullet Club Gold. I think they all mesh really well together. Like Jay White obviously is the star, but I think Juice Robinson is, I mean, I know I say this about a lot of people, but he really is a national treasure when it comes to professional wrestling. He's utterly fantastic. He's 100% that gimmick.
Rock hard.
And rock hard. The right hand of God. Or is it the left hand? Left hand of God. I
think it's the left hand.
He said, I don't need a ring, even though he's got a ring on it. Yeah. $24.99 at TJ Maxx. Like, I was dying.
They did my worst one of my biggest pet peeves in wrestling. I hate post-match promos.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of.
They're gassed. It throws off this is just a me thing.
I don't like them either.
I hate post-match promos. I hate them.
I don't like them.
Give them, go, just do a quick backstage segment.
I think I yelled at the TV the first time I saw WWE do it. I said, why the fuck are you bothering them right now?
And, give it 10 minutes and fill up another segment. Give them a second to go drink some water because you can deliver it so much better when you're not gassed.
But I think he did.
Yeah, he did
fine.
But as good as it was, it made me go, that could have been way better had he not just wrestled a match with. And it wasn't like they went 2 minutes either.
And I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to yell and scream if MJF wins again.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to be pissed. I was pissed last time.
Really?
I was pissed last time.
Really?
Be really pissed this time. Someone else needs that fucking ring. MJF does not need the Dynamite Diamond ring anymore. He didn't need it last year. Now, if Jay White doesn't beat MJF, I'm not going to bitch and moan. That's not what I'm talking about. The Dynamite Diamond ring, when the winner of the Battle Royal, whoever that is, wrestles MJF, MJF has to fucking lose. Or I'm going to freak out. No. I think Jay White should beat him too. But that won't piss me off. That won't piss me off. But if he keeps the Dynamite Diamond ring for a fourth year, I'm going to be pissed. Because what's the fucking point? If you're just going to keep it on MJF all the time, why fucking do it?
Next year it's the MJF Invitational.
Right? Like, just call it what the fuck it is.
So, I agree. I hope he doesn't win the Battle Royal. I guess.
Hey, what's up, guys? Superman Onyx here. WrestleFit, one of the newest, baddest workouts out there right now. Now, yes, the word wrestling is in it, but you won't be wrestling. You won't be doing the headlocks or the slams or the spine busters that I do. Yeah. But what you will be doing is everything that we do to get ready to get in the ring, from kettlebell swings to slam balls to flipping tires to hitting tires to doing Olympic weightlifting movements. Guys, you don't want to miss out on this. WrestleFit is the way to go. Gives you a little bit of everything. I hope to see you soon.
We're talking about, let's skip to 4. You want to do that since we're discussing?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, Dustin Rhodes' promo was good.
Yeah, I thought so.
I thought it was really good promo.
I thought, all right, cool, Dustin, good to see. And I'm glad they put the time in to make it seem like he's a legitimate threat. Because a quick show up, but the fact that he has a big backstage vignette makes you go, maybe they might.
And he sold the importance of what this could do for him. And that's why I say MJF cannot beat the winner of this battle royal. He can't. I think to make it important as it should be, because you get a title shot for winning the Dynamite Diamond ring. MJF can't win.
Who should win?
Honestly, I'd give it to Juice just to give more fire to that Bullet Club Gold feud with MJF, because we need something. Because I don't know who else they have in the wings. That could be another nice little stopgap before we get to Revolution of having Juice Robinson wrestle MJF after Jay White does, if Jay White doesn't beat MJF.
See, I think you go with Dustin.
I wouldn't mind Dustin Rhodes.
I think you go with Dustin. Obviously, he doesn't win, but why not just one more kind of moment in the sun sort of thing? What's wrong with that as a stopgap? Cool story. Can I still do it? Can I hang with the best wrestler on a roster in MJF? I'm not saying really, but I'm saying in kayfabe, once you're the best. I think, why? Because you can even play into the fact that, look at what my brother's doing over in the other place. Why can't I get one? Why can't I finish my own story?
And here's the other thing. Let's all see who and pay attention to who's in it. That's going to tell us how important they really think this is.
I'm hoping that
if it's 50-50, names and then got to fill it out, okay, this is important. If it's mostly fill out names, then I'm like, do they even give a shit?
I'm hoping that Lance is in it.
Me too.
Even if he's eliminated, I'm fine with that.
I think Orange Cassidy should be in it. He made it to the finals against MJF last year.
But I'm hoping
Darby Allin should be in it.
I'm hoping they trot Lance and Jake out for it, because Jake manages Lance every time he's on TV. So
Luchasaurus should be in it.
What's that, buddy?
I'm not totally caught up. Is there a chance Roderick Strong is in it?
I think there's certainly a chance.
There's a chance. Not a lot of people have been announced for it. Only a few. That's why I'm like, we got to kind of wait and see who's all in it to see how important this is.
Because if he is, he's my pick.
That'd be utterly fantastic.
Yeah, I think you should do half names, half people that are never on TV.
Yeah,
Lance Archer, Brock and Arn Anderson, Jake because he's with Lance.
But give me 10 guys that I can be like,
they might win.
They might win. Give me some people that might win.
So we'll see. All right. Kyle Fletcher made Boulder submit. It was a quick. I like what Kyle Fletcher's doing.
I do too.
Taking advantage of
I'm a huge fan of Kyle Fletcher, dude.
You can tell he's a bit of the stronger side of Aussie Open. No offense. He's a little bit
in ring. Yeah.
He might be stronger. That was a pretty solid promo he cut. Even.
Yeah. No. Yeah. He's better. He's got a little bit better promo.
Yeah. I like where this is going. The only thing
I'm just glad he's not
off TV.
Yes. Because normally that happens.
Yeah. Your tag partner's hurt. Sorry.
But I mean, when you're friends with people like Chris Jericho and Will Ospreay, that might help a lot.
Yeah, because you don't know who's throwing your name out in a booking meeting. Apparently Lance Archer needs to find some friends.
Yeah, he does. Go out drinking with Chris. You'll get booked. I'm not joking. Listen to the Talk is Jericho episode that had Will Ospreay and Aussie Open on it.
Well, then
go out drinking with Chris.
Then respectfully, I ask this question. Respectfully. How the fuck does Jake Roberts get booked?
Lance Archer goes out drinking with Chris
because
they're like a package deal.
We don't want him anywhere near.
No. Yeah, no. Lance Archer does the drinking.
Because then all of a sudden, great things are happening.
He's brought in by proxy.
All right. Okay. So it was announced that tomorrow in Texas, Rossburg, I believe, right? That's where the show is going to be tomorrow.
Yeah,
Texas.
I think
Sure.
Sting.
I mean, they just went to Toledo. I don't know what towns they're fucking wrestling in.
Sting.
Like,
Sting will be on Dynamite, the icon himself, to address the fans. All right, couple of factors to paint the picture, okay? Because would you agree the Sting segment has got some scuttlebutt about it?
oh yeah,
People are talking about it. However, I have not seen one credible, true dirt sheet say much about what's going to happen with the segment. I've seen the Facebookers kind of sulk about it and say, well, that's got to be it. But I haven't seen Meltzer or SRS with Fightful. I haven't seen him say a whole lot about it, so I don't know where this is coming from on this segment. Because the scuttlebutt is, boys, people start to wonder, Sting's going to address the fans. He is 64 years old. He has teased retirement many times. He's kind of our Terry Funk of this generation.
yeah.
Because Dixie Carter every year was like, well, this is probably it. And then, you'd get time off to be Brett Favre at the Bound for Glory. Well, we'll see if I do one more year. Keep in mind, he was going to retire originally in 2006.
Are we talking about Brett or Sting?
We're talking about Sting.
All right, because I'm pretty sure it was Brett too.
Yeah, it was right around the same time. Yep.
Just wanted to be sure.
All right. So, given the fact, let's look at a couple factors here, because I don't want to. I want to paint this whole picture before I ask these questions. Given the fact that Sting is on TV a fair amount, limited but a fair amount, a little more than Brock Lesnar, let's say.
Okay.
And given the fact he lives in Texas, could this be an angle that starts out of convenience because of how often does WWE or any other wrestling company for that matter, you know what, this guy's from here, let's bring him in and start something. How many times did Taker pop up in Texas because it was Texas? And I mean to start a WrestleMania angle or in recent years a Saudi angle or something. Are you sure that this is heading toward the retirement deal? Is that what are you sure of that, Jason, that this is Sting going to hang it up Wednesday night or announce a final run? Because the reality is he's made very clear that Showtime's almost over. If he says I'm about to start my final run, isn't that what this has all been? Like, how often can we kind of allude to that?
That's fair.
This is the final run.
I've heard final run a lot.
I think the promo starts that way, and then someone else has something to say.
Yeah, and goes, hey.
Now, I'm going to go really crazy.
Great career, bud.
I'm going to go really crazy.
Okay, I like
and I'm going to pull it right back in with somebody else.
All right.
But first, hear me out,
Okay,
because
okay.
the fucking world would explode.
Okay.
Sting comes out.
I want to hear your legitimate thoughts, though.
I will. I'll give
All
you
right.
but this one's going to be real fun,
Okay.
though. Sting comes out, starts talking about retirement. All of a sudden, the lights go out. And we hear this weird gong that's slightly different. And then we hear this weird remix that's slightly different. And this 6'10" dude comes walking from backstage that we all know and love, but can't call him Undertaker on AEW television.
Hi, Mark.
You're not done until I say you're done. Yeah. That's, dream booking out
what
the
we all
ass.
want.
But that's what we all want before Sting and Undertaker hang it up forever is we want to see them in the ring. Yeah, for real.
For reals.
I think this would be a good way to do that same thing, but with Aleister Black in the House of Black.
Ooh.
Because they are really starting to affect the roster. It started with Julia Hart, and now Sky Blue is acting different after getting the mist. And I talked about this last week on the Bruce Cruz edition of To The Turnbuckle. It's weird how the only time the mist in WWE mattered is when Bianca took it, and now it's just another thing. But AEW, it's like detrimental. It fucks up your head. You have to wear an eye patch and bandages, but they don't sell enough in the ring sometimes. It's why I don't understand why there's bandwagons, and so it's like they all have their little things that they do really, really well, and they both have their things that they don't do so well. Like, so for example, Seth didn't fucking sell the Last Man Standing match at all on Monday. And occasionally, the Young Bucks and Rey Fenix won't sell a fucking flipping pile driver to save their lives. They both have positives, they both have minuses. But I think you get him involved with Aleister Black and the House of Black. Pull him away from Darby.
So you don't think that this segment is him going, I'm going to retire at Full Gear?
I think it starts that way, like similar to how Mark Henry introduced the Hall of Pain to John Cena. Like similar to that kind of a promo. Like real emotional, it's almost time for me to hang it up, and then the House of Black comes out.
But you don't think we're quite there yet?
I don't think so. I don't think he gets the full announcement out because the House of Black stops him.
Because I don't know if he can...
If Sting comes out in a salmon trench coat, I know we're in for a night.
Yes. Oh, he will.
So...
Salmon trench coat.
So Travis, what say you? Is this the I'm going to retire at Full Gear, or what do you think's happening here, or is this just for now a tease?
I think I would actually side with the way Jason put it. I think it starts out as I'm hanging up the boots. I don't know if it's going to be Aleister Black, but I do like his idea that somebody ruins it, but I think it's going to be Darby.
Turns on him. Where were you? See what Nick Wayne did to me?
I mean, that is fair.
Because here's the thing about Sting. I know he's 64. I know he's well past his prime. I know all those things. Couple different factors here. Because I feel like this conversation deserves
I think so.
An extended little discussion here. Can AEW afford to lose him right now? You just lost CM Punk. By CM Punk's own, I get it. That's not, if Daniel Bryan Danielson is telling the truth and sticks to his word, you have him for 1 year. Big if in wrestling. Chris Jericho's not getting any younger. And the company right now is on a downturn. We know that. Mm-hmm. Can you afford, and I'm not talking so much about the U.S. audience, but as a company, licensing, branding, the whole thing. If you're Tony Khan, I don't think you can afford to lose him right now. You need him to do, I would think, at least until next August in London.
That would be my, if I had the pencil, as people like to say, that's where I would ask. Yeah. I'd be like, look, Sting came, obviously he came to my office. He asked, look, I gotta hang up the boots. Can you give me I will give you whoever you want that I can get.
Yeah. Name it. Yeah, name it and I'll do it.
And I'll make it happen. Just like I said with Goldberg. Yeah. Bring him in. You could have brought him in for All In to put Wardlow over, and then you get to go out on your own later on next year, however you want. Just do us this favor.
And then plus with Sting, time and time again, legit, real, he says it's about over. And while about is over, I'm sure, in relative term, time and time again, it never is.
No,
he even officially retired at the WWE Hall of Fame.
Even if it's like writings on the wall and he does kind of retire or lead to it, I think that the Darbys, the Aleister Blacks, the Buddy Murphys, I think those are the perfect matches for him. They're not bump heavy. Like they'll bump, like Buddy Matthews will bump, but like their offense isn't bump heavy. Like Darby Allin, he might land on you, but he's 150 pounds, so it's fine. There's like matches. He does stunners and stuff like that. Aleister Black is mostly mixed martial arts and wrestling holds. Same with Buddy Matthews. That if you can lengthen the end of his career by giving him matches like that, where he's not having to take a bunch of. Sure, he's going to have to take some bumps because he's going to have to take kicks, but you're not getting fucking power bombed. You're not getting power slammed. All that shit.
Do you think his? I'm sure it won't be Wednesday, but let's say the word imminent. No matter what happens, I know his retirement isn't Wednesday, right?
Right.
But do you think that his retirement would be imminent? Would you be more likely to believe it? Because I would. If I saw a reliable dirt sheet source kind of say that's what's happening. Because everything we've seen right now that speculates it is those and I'm not putting him down. It would be great to be one, frankly. Those Facebook sites that have really made an audience based off of reporting the rumors they read. Mm-hmm. And that's all I've seen thus far. Travis, is that you? Same thing? All I've seen about his retirement is it comes from those Facebook sites that make reports off of what they read. But I haven't seen Dave Meltzer say that this is what's happening. And I'm not saying that Meltzer is always right. He's not. But he certainly has contacts in AEW.
That's true.
And I haven't seen Meltzer say that. I haven't seen Sean Ross say that. It's purely speculative of what's going to happen here. So I really don't believe that this is it. I think you could be saying, in London, I'm done. Or I think I'm done. Because I think Sting's pretty honest about the fact that he does waffle a lot. Because he doesn't know when to call it a day. Because he never has. And I'm not saying that negative. I think he doesn't want anything left to wonder.
Well,
and that's hard to do.
Here's the other side of the coin. It could be as simple as an announcement as, I kind of want that world title, and I'm going to get in the Battle Royal. That's a huge announcement for Sting. He's never even approached the world championship trying to wrestle for it in AEW. So for Sting and his current character, that's a big announcement too.
Yeah, I think that, but the scuttlebutt, and I just don't feel like now would be the time.
That's why I like my first angle. Yeah. You're alluding to it, but you don't come out and say it.
And I think that, but it's weird because we've already had the in and out of kayfabe. The Shore's coming to it, because he constantly says that same kind of metaphor. It's coming into Shore. Don't know when.
Yeah, just say medical science is fantastic and you're fine.
But you can't. Do you have to say a date Wednesday?
Oh no! Let's say you don't even get the word retirement out before you're interrupted. I don't think
so, because I don't think AEW can afford to lose him right now for branding, markets, action figures, more TV deals. I know that he only wrestles 4 or 5 matches a year, and I know he's not what he once was, of course, right? But I think
he can still go though.
But I think his brand, even if he couldn't,
that's true,
is so important to any secondary company not named WWE. It's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, he, and it's not to say Jericho doesn't or all the others, but he is a legitimizer of any company. That's what Impact needed him for. And frankly, I don't know if it coincides with it, but look where Impact has gone since his departure. I'm not saying that he's because of that. I'm saying it's just you can kind of mark the downturns. And can AEW afford to lose him right now because they are in a downturn? Now, if he'd have said this time last year, I'm going to quit, it'd be different. But right, for the first time in their history, they're going through kind of a rough stretch.
Especially because, you look at the landscape right now, like, Jericho's written off television. Kenny's involved. He's written off television at the moment, but he's involved in the Don Callis stuff. Like, there's not a lot of star power at the top of the card right now.
And to be honest, Full Gear, and no disrespect to Full Gear, it's not big enough. It's not big enough. There's not enough time to give you what he deserves.
I would say time. It is one of their big pay-per-views, but there's not enough time.
It needs to be in London because that's
up. I agree.
It needs to be at London this year, next year, whenever. I don't care if it does 5 more years.
His last match needs to be in London
because it's the biggest WrestleMania-esque pay-per-view they're ever going to have, or at least that's right now,
or All In. It doesn't always have to be in London, Tony.
He wants it to be.
I understand that he wants it, but I think I said this a couple weeks ago. There is this stadium. It's shaped like a horseshoe. It's not that far from here in Lancaster, and it's closer to you. And I do believe that it was announced a few weeks ago that they can fit something like 110 plus 1,000 people, and that's in a football stadium. That doesn't count the around the ring that you would have if you put your ring in the middle of August in the horseshoe. You would never get your record broken.
Respectfully, I don't think they could fill it out right now.
Maybe not. But this comment also goes to WWE, not just AEW. Yeah. I would very much like to see All In the horseshoe, but this goes for both of them. If you're worried about fucking records right now, what are you doing? The horseshoe's right there. It's like 45 minutes from me. And I'm the furthest one out of all 3 of us from it.
They were about to rain.
It's SummerSlam. It doesn't rain in August here.
you still have that possibility. I've had some rain in August.
It rains in Florida, and they do outside shows. They do stadium shows in Florida. It rained at WrestleMania.
And I guarantee you Vince was yelling at the clouds.
Well, that's his fucking problem. He's not in charge anymore.
Well, I guarantee you Triple H will be yelling at the clouds.
Well, he needs to get over it because it's not a big deal.
If you delay the show, it's a big deal.
You don't have to delay the show. It's fine.
They did delay the show.
They did. Well, lightning, but sure, it's fine. Then don't do stadium shows at all. There's always a chance of weather.
Not if you book one with the roof.
Where's the fun in that?
They don't do it for fun. They do it for profit.
Stop poo-pooing my horseshoe idea, sir.
I respect where you're coming from.
Wouldn't you like to be able to attend the biggest pro wrestling event in the world, regardless of what company it comes to, and only have to drive for 30 minutes to get there? I know, like, you and huge crowds aren't always, like, ideal.
Yeah.
But, like, I think you would make the exception for something like that, where it's like, 110,000 people, but I only have to be in the car for half an hour.
It's in my backyard, yeah. All right. Keith Lee got a win. I don't know what we're doing with Keith Lee. Frankly, I hope they stick him back with Dustin if Dustin's not winning. Put him back together, have him go for the tag titles.
I feel like that this shows the detriment to some of the younger talent, which is weird that I'm jumping Keith Lee into this because he's not a younger talent. He's a veteran. I feel like he's not listening to advice.
How so?
Well, look at Powerhouse Hobbs. He is a Mark Henry project through and through, you can tell. He listens. He's done what he was suggested he should do. Look where he is. Is he to the moon over right now? No, but he's in a better position right now than he was 2 months ago. I don't know. I don't know the backstage. I do know that, like, if you don't bring stuff to Tony Khan and he makes something up and you don't like it, go sit at home. Yep. Which we're starting to learn, he's a lot more like Vince than we want to believe.
Well, it's because Vince is
he's got his vision, and that's what you're going to do. Okay, we'll think of something else. Go home and sit down.
There's going to be a lot of people like Vince in some ways because Vince is the most successful person to ever do this.
I mean, you're dumb not to try to learn something from how he did it.
He will always be that. All right, Miro didn't want anyone near CJ. Action Andretti offered his services to CJ, and then a vignette later, Miro went, "No, I don't want it for me, brother," and he beats down Action Andretti. This was kind of a weird segment for a few reasons. This whole thing's kind of weird. I don't see the point of it, and let me tell you why. CJ's angle is, I want to manage. I'm a manager of champions. Your resume, you don't have the resume. The one person, two people you've managed didn't become more successful with you in Miro and Dolph Ziggler. It would, if Arn Anderson said this, if Jake Roberts said this, if Medusa came and said this, then it's believable. But no one has ever looked at CJ Perry, Lana, whatever, and said, she didn't make Bobby Lashley more successful. I mean, it might have been a successful night in the sack, kayfabe-wise, but it wasn't anything to write home about as far as career goes. Cool, you had the great lesbian angle with Liv Morgan that we didn't do anything with. Fun to watch. Don't get me wrong. Boy, I was hoping we'd go places. It did. But it didn't happen. So I don't get that, number one. Number two, if Miro doesn't want to work with CJ, kayfabe, why does he care if other people do?
Because he does care. He just says he doesn't.
Well, great. I understand the grade school deal, but what's the point of all this? No one has ever looked at Lana and said, boy, she'd add a lot to AEW.
Maybe she can. We don't know. We have to give her the benefit of the doubt just like everybody else. She's flying on her own now. She's not getting material thrown at her.
Remember when she was Russian?
Yeah, she is Russian.
Well, she lost the accent. Bring it back.
And there's nothing wrong with having aberrations of managing champions just because you haven't gotten done before.
Why? Kayfabe-wise, tell me. Tell me why, other than outside endeavors, let's call that. out of respect. Tell me why a client would go, yeah, I'm going to trust CJ Perry with my career.
Can't hurt for someone like Action Andretti.
It can hurt because you know she's got the baggage of Miro and you about to get your ass.
Well,
whooped.
now it can, but I just don't see that big of a deal. Okay, so we have another manager, or it's probably just to get them back together and have her in a managerial position for him anyway.
We don't use the Hall of Fame managers we have.
He renounced her, so now she's trying to get back at him.
Yeah,
it's all vengeance.
Well,
look, it's something. It's a thread that went through the show. It's not ideal right now, but it might get better. At least Miro's segment stood out.
It could get better.
Fantastically. I liked his segment. What I didn't like was the schoolgirl laugh that CJ and the girl had. Like, are you professional or are you trying to cheat on Miro? Because that was the fucking laugh you gave when Action Andretti offered to hear phone calls. It wasn't oh yeah, that's going to be cool, girl. It was, oh girl, you got that cute guy's number. It was that laugh. That's what I don't like. That's getting too soap opera for me. Get out of here with that.
It's coming.
Get out of here.
It's coming. That. It's going to be a weird triple. It's going to look like Tiger King's
now,
wedding.
Miro beating people up. Here for it.
I think that CJ Perry's idea of wrestling is the more soap opera, goofy, throw a cake on.
You can have a little bit mixed in, but don't. I think the giggle laugh hurt it. I could read the writing on the wall with your facial expressions alone. I could infer that you thought this gentleman was cute and maybe it could go further than managerial services. I didn't need the schoolgirl giggle at the end.
All right. Christian defeated Bryan Danielson to retain the TNT title. Great match. Pay-per-view worthy.
Oh, yeah.
Pay-per-view worthy. Any thoughts? Complaints?
Each and every week, Christian motherfucking Cage shows you how good he is. The lesser of the team, everyone said. But look what happens when he doesn't have to deal with creative. He's given a ball, and look what he's done. Luchasaurus is in the best position in the company that he's ever been. And he was pushed hard when AEW started. He was on TV each and every week.
Oh, I can hear he and Dragon Boy now.
Look at Nick Wayne. He is already better off joining with Christian Cage than he was tag teaming with Darby Allin. And it makes sense. He got brainwashed by basically, he got groomed. He's 18 years old. Somebody's saying, I can do this for you. I can be the dad that you lost early, all blah, 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 blah. It all works. It's fantastic. And I don't think Christian Cage gets the credit he deserves. And I don't think enough people have sat back and said, you know what? I was wrong when I poo-pooed him coming out. Because there was a big... at these desks as well, and the IWC were like, what the fuck? Christian Cage. Everybody was pissed.
Yep.
And now... 2 years down the road, he's probably the best heel in the company. Him and Don Callis are right here. I mean,
I agree that I was wrong to poo-poo it.
He was getting fuck you Christian chants when he was controlling the match against Bryan Danielson. You do that to heels when they cut promos. But to hear that mid-match, that's wild. That's wow, they really fucking hate him. It's great. It's great.
All right, let's talk a little Monday Night Raw, shall we?
Oh, yeah, Raw.
All right, let's get right to the big fish here in the pond. Finn Balor and Damian Priest defeated Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso to reclaim the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. Travis, talk to me.
Yo.
Yeah, you go first.
Yeah, you go first.
What are we doing?
I don't know.
So finally, a booking decision Triple H makes you disagree with, right?
Oh, there's been a few. There's definitely been a few.
But is this one the most egregious?
I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Yes.
Honestly. It's up there, but I don't know if it's the most egregious.
Yes.
I'm sure
Yes.
there's a few others.
It is the most egregious booking decision. So, other than maybe, and this is all subjective, Cody and Roman at WrestleMania, this is fucking stupid. What are we doing? Jimmy could have cost them the title at Fastlane.
Yep.
And it would have made more sense because he was booked to be there.
Yep.
We're doing trades over here, but we're disregarding the draft over here because Jimmy can just show up on Raw and cost Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso the tag team championships. What are we doing? You're breaking your own rules. I yell when horror movies do it, and I'm going to yell when pro wrestling does it because it's ridiculous. What was the point?
If Jimmy is not punished on Friday for somehow, this is ridiculously
For
stupid.
what?
For showing up on Raw.
Nobody ever said that there would be consequences and repercussions if you showed up on a show that wasn't yours.
Now we have a general manager on SmackDown that can lay down the law.
But Adam Pearce filled that role for both shows. He could have done that before.
Well, Adam Pearce is a wuss.
That's mean. He was overwhelmed.
It's not true. He gave Ronda Rousey the business.
Yeah, he kind of did.
That's true.
Be mean to Adam Pearce. That's a hard job. Okay?
Well,
It's amazing. It's amazing he still has hair and a chipper personality at this point. Most people would be gray-haired, no-haired, and pissed off all the time.
Oh, he's definitely gray-haired. He's definitely gray-haired.
But no, this was like, what's the point? Why? It doesn't further the story at all because, like I just said, Jimmy could have just cost them the fucking titles at Fastlane. Mm-hmm. It's not like he had a match after. His match was before. He didn't have anything else to do. He could have easily cost his brother the titles, just like he cost him the world title for no reason.
But
because we still
have
don't
marching orders to do it.
Because this whole time that Roman's been gone, Jimmy has done whatever he wanted because of marching orders. I think he was trying to call the plays if he did say so on Monday night earlier or on Friday night. I'm just calling plays, trying to call audibles while you ain't here. So nothing that he did while Roman was gone was sanctioned by Roman Reigns. So why would that matter?
Because now Roman's back, so now he's taking orders from Roman because I don't know. I tried.
Well, bad try.
Screw you.
Like it didn't do anything. Finn Balor and Damian Priest aren't any more mad at each other than they were at Fastlane because it all went down because of JD McDonough hitting Priest with the knee, so it didn't cause any friction in the Judgment Day. Did it make Rhea Ripley kind of take charge? Sure. But she was already kind of doing it. So what did this accomplish?
I don't know. Everybody tells me this guy's the second coming to booking.
I don't understand. And like, you're gonna have these, and we're gonna bitch about it. But what are you doing? What are you doing?
All right. The one great segment from Raw. One great segment was Seth freaking Rollins engaged in a war wars with Drew McIntyre en route to the World Championship clash at Crown Jewel. This was
It was really good.
Magnifique. I thought it was wonderful in the sense of it gave a sense of realism to it. It took a shot at both Drew's failures to let go of the bloodline and never get back on top post-COVID. It took a shot at Seth having to reinvent himself for 55 times.
Shit was funny.
It was great. I liked the sarcasm when he was all, "What are you getting at, buddy?" He was all, "What are you getting at, buddy?" And I was like, that's when I text you and I was like, I love Drew McIntyre. when he dropped that start, "What are you getting at, buddy?" And I was like, Drew McIntyre is gold.
He's fantastic. You know what I realized?
Do tell.
Seth's a dick.
Yeah.
Like before it was like really funny, but like the dickness really started to show when he laughed at Shinsuke. But now he's like talking to Drew and you're like, bro, you're a dick. Mm-hmm. Like, really? People cheer for you? Like, he turned me. I don't want to see him with the championship anymore. I don't like this Seth Rollins. Like, he's not funny architect. He's not funny joker. Dude, you're just a dick. And I don't like that. Get out of here. You've, like, two legends in this business that will be in the Hall of Fame, whether someone gave you the lines to do or not. You're a dick. I don't like that. There's no reason for you to be such an asshole, Seth. Like, what do you... Now I'm like...
Especially as a babyface.
Exactly. But now I'm like, so those rumors probably are true that he talks to no one.
So, yeah, it is. I thought this was a great segment, but hopefully Drew wins.
I hope so. I hope I'm wrong and that they take the belt off of him, but...
Napper, any thoughts on this segment?
Perfection.
And don't get me wrong, I like Seth's work, but I was just like, him being a dick smacked me in the face last night. I was like, whoa.
It's an interesting choice of words.
Shut up, Travis.
Just saying.
I did just picture a hot dog slapping a face. I really did. Just an Oscar Minor wiener. Just boom.
I'm just going to cut that shit out and post.
I
won't.
I did. I just pictured a
You've heard how I do this. I Stone Cold Steve Austin this shit. We're done. Boom.
I did. I just pictured a sausage just going right in his face.
You're welcome, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, just slappity slap. Going up, going down.
Oh, shit.
Another really, I thought this was great. Gunther defeated Big Bronson Reed in the Intercontinental title match. Apparently, Triple H liked Vince's idea of calling him Big Bronson Reed because it's still a thing.
It is still a thing.
He went, you know what? Damn, he is kind of big. Yeah, let's call him big.
It's like, he's Big Bronson Reed. He's got the tsunami. And he's got the, like, bell horns at the beginning of his theme. Did you hear that shit? Yeah. I was like, is this fucking remix of Tugboat's music?
I want to know.
What are we?
I want to know where he finds a leather jacket big enough to get it done. But
right?
See, I think this was great. I don't want Gunther to lose, but Chad Gable was the guy, and now we're kind of lost on the guy.
Yeah.
Napper, what say you?
Chad Gable is still the guy.
Well, we need to pick a guy. Because if anything, the Intercontinental title should be somewhat experimental. It always was. Just like the U.S. title. Mm-hmm. We give you this, we see how you do, and maybe you get to the world title. I think Gunther has proven himself to the point where he should probably be moving up to the world title picture, and someone should try to fill his shoes and see if they can for the Intercontinental Championship. I hear he's not a fan of that, and he wants to be Intercontinental Champion forever probably, but that's just not a thing. And
that's what I was going to say.
And I'm sorry if you're not a fan of that, but that's how this works. Like, that's the natural progress. One of the things that is a constant in pro wrestling. Storytelling and the progression of championships. Like even in the darkest days of WWE, it was few and far between that you got the world title before the Intercontinental. Barack, Undertaker, Kane,
Cena
had the U.S.
That's fair.
Before. There's not a long list of guys that didn't win that mid-card championship before the world title. It's a very small list.
So, do we wait on WrestleMania 40 to take it off Gunther?
Oh, for fuck's sakes, I hope not.
No.
I'm in no hurry to see him lose, but I'm getting tired of all these unbeatable champions. Like, at some point, you get beat.
When should he lose it, Travis?
Survivor Series.
Ooh, yeah, in a multi-man match, that'd be perfect.
Yeah.
That way he saves face. Because fucking wrestlers and their goddamn egos sometimes. Jesus.
You can't lose. All right. Piper Niven defeated Natalya. I thought it's weird that Natalya's a heel one week and a face the next.
Yeah.
They can't quite decide
They don't know what to do with her.
on her direction.
She's the women's version of Big Show.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, maybe she should do what he did.
Wait a minute. I thought the guy that booked Big Show was working on TV deals. Why are we doing the same thing?
Ha ha ha! I see what you did there.
Huh.
I agree that she should do what he did.
I thought the match between Ludwig Kaiser defeated Johnny Gargano was great. Problem was, you shouldn't have ever booked the match in the first place. You shouldn't have booked it, and I'll tell you why.
Lose.
Yep. Because Johnny Gargano's first match back on TV, he loses. Ludwig couldn't afford the loss anyway because we're trying to kind of reestablish him because it looks like he might be starting to veer.
Fireworks? Neighbors across the street. I was like, what the hell? It's fucking October.
Because, well, maybe they're really at Oktoberfest.
I mean, there's some partiers, and they get some big fireworks.
But I just personally, I don't think you should have booked this match in the first place.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I completely agree.
It was
with
a
you.
good match. It was fun.
Yeah,
to
no,
watch.
it really was.
But for the storyline, you can't win. And then,
no, like booking him against
and then it wasn't good enough for Gunther. He's got to have him out on the stretcher next week. Like, well, what? Then why did we? Then Gargano should have stayed off TV and let's do this against someone that actually needs the TV time but can kind of afford the loss.
right?
I mean, why can't you, all kidding aside, you could do the same story, not as good of a match, but you could do the same story with Akira Tozawa instead of the comedy stuff we're doing right now. He never wrestles. He just does the little quick comedy, kind of modern-day R-Truth bits. And just put him in the ring and let's do this thing.
The easiest way to avoid this
Because
was
he's a good worker.
to have Ciampa come out and cost Kaiser. Then it's like, yeah, he took a loss, but it wasn't clean.
So then Gunther's going to be mad at Ciampa and not
And then
Kaiser.
we get a return match because who doesn't want to see Gunther and Ciampa again? Like, it writes itself if you let it. It really does.
We've been saying that about wrestling for a while. And then finally, then we'll get out of here because we kind of done Shinsuke.
Yeah, we talked
Yeah.
a lot about it. I mean, it was a banger, but
it just
It was awesome.
it was really awesome.
But it
Gotta
just
hand it to
doesn't-
both of them. It does nothing for either one of them.
Sami Zayn addressed Kevin Owens' Raw departure. I like where we're heading here. I thought the backstage promo with Jay was a little weird that he literally, I thought, wait an hour and then cool off. Because, how quickly do you calm down, sir? Because I think you do that segment with Jay, I'm talking about they had the original kind of, man, I'm happy you're here, but I'm really upset because of you, KO's gone. I think you have that miniature blow up, and then an hour later you go, hey, can I talk, bro? I lost me there for a second. My bad.
Well, he's Canadian.
But
They have different forgiving rules.
well, literally he literally throws the thing down. Plus, he threw the thing down in what you would do there in TV or even in real life. When we wait for the person to go away, then we throw the thing down. I've done it. Right? Have you done it ever in your life?
Yeah, probably.
I've done it. You wait until you know the person can't hear you. Well, it was a ladder, right? He wasn't that far down the hall.
Yeah, he's
So,
emotional.
I thought you wait a little bit. It wasn't a bad segment at all. And I'm interested to see where it goes, though I hate that we're constantly just kind of hopping from tag team to tag team with some guys.
Yeah, me too.
Sami Zayn, if Sami Zayn is not with KO, then he doesn't need to be in a tag team.
Jey Uso doesn't need to be in a tag team, and neither does Cody Rhodes, which is why did we have them win the championships at all?
I'm starting to think Triple H dislikes tag team wrestling as much as Vince does in terms of its value.
I think he values it more.
Well, he doesn't treat it like
Ish.
he doesn't. He's not.
There was a point where I thought that. Now that you say it, though.
In recent months, the tag team division has just gone to shambles.
Yeah.
Napper, thoughts?
I agree on the should have probably waited an hour before we did the whole I forgive you, I'm so sorry, please forgive me.
He's Canadian. Leave him alone. They forgive quickly up there.
I mean, so do I.
Okay. So do I, but geez. Even I thought that was a little quick.
I just felt like it made Sami Zayn look unstable.
Maybe he is unstable.
Back to his conspiracy theorist days.
Not that far. Let's not go that far. Even though that was funny, though. But we don't need to see Sami Zayn funny anymore.
Not for a while.
No. I mean, he can be naturally comical. That's cool. But not like character funny.
All right, gentlemen, any final thoughts?
I was just
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I hope that Kevin Owens keeps the unhinged part where he just constantly has random rants about the dumbest things and certain things that are like tongue-in-cheek to wrestling fans, but also like legitimately, why are we doing this?
I just had a great idea.
What?
Kevin Owens should transition his character more Sami Zayn niceness and likability, and Sami Zayn transfers more to prize fighter because when they're apart they go crazy.
Yeah.
It could be fun.
What's the matter with them? I miss you.
I miss you. You're my friend.
All right. Well,
You kept my crazy in check because you're crazy. Now you're gone.
and so now I'm really crazy. All right. So, gentlemen, any final thoughts on wrestling this week? And then we got Dynamite tomorrow. We got NXT starting right about now.
I'm looking forward to Dynamite tomorrow. It's going to be a bit of a banger. We got a couple good matches. We got the Dynamite Battle Royal. I'm interested to see what Sting has to say. I'm interested in this Jim Ross interview. I think that's really smart. It was something that WWE utilized a lot to get people over. And was the Kenny and JR one perfect? Not exactly. But I think Christian Cage and Darby's was better. And let's do it again. Let's see if this one's better. Because, I mean, think about it. Foley, Triple H, Stone Cold Steve Austin, all kind of got over with that first sit-down interview.
With Jim Ross.
I mean, Triple H, I am the fucking game, JR.
Yeah,
Right there. He was that after that interview, he was the game.
Yep, Jim Ross.
So I think it's really smart to use him this way. You know, trot him out for main events, but use him this way. Every way that you can to use the resource of Jim Ross,
And it's
you need to use it.
It's an incredible
and this is one of the best, especially pre-tapes. If something goes wrong, let's just do it again.
If he didn't like how he phrased the question, I can do that better. Yep. All right. How about you, Napper? Any final thoughts?
Something I think we could definitely talk about for next week, though. So that we didn't really touch on. Where does Jade Cargill end up?
Raw.
Because we've seen her now on every show, and unless we get an answer on Tuesday today, or we get an answer on Friday, that would be an interesting conversation for next week.
Let's chat about it. Assuming that we don't get an answer.
Fair enough.
And if we do get an answer, we will be sure to chat about if it was the right one.
I like it.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure to put that in next week's rundown. With that, we hope you enjoyed this week's edition of To The Turnbuckle. Again, episode titled Trouble in Paradise. And we'll see what happens. We'll keep you up to date on what's going to happen with Vince. When does AEW get out of this downturn and how? And just so much more. We're in such a weird time right now for wrestling, both in and out of the ring. Going to be interesting to see what happens. So with that, until next week, we'll see you in the ring. Ding, ding.
Bye, Buckle Brigade.
Bye, Buckle Brigade.
And before we go, don't forget to check out the Bruiser Nation Podcast Network, a member of Snapmare Productions. Great shows, Loss of Down, Red Flag, Bruce Cruz Podcast, Bruce Cruz Macabro, and of course the flagship, To The Turnbuckle, each and every week on the Bruiser Nation Podcast Network.
We ain't going nowhere, baby. We'll see you.